Make no mistake, we are currently living in one of the golden eras of Australian cricket. It won't last forever. It will come around again, but drink it in because these are the best days of your cricketing life. England have absolutely lost the plot across 4 different disciplines in the last 7 days. Half the team that lost more than half their games are apparently in the Test team of the year. That's when they can see the ball because there's less smog in England, of course. They still don't know when to stay in the crease. And to cap it all off, Australia are winning cricket games because they do surf life-saving. You'll be listening to this and you'll have friends in the UK, from the UK. You'll have lived there, you'll have travelled there, and your memories will be fond, cherished, treasured memories. We are the dumb convicts, just mere brutes lacking civility, class and grace. But we can't let them get away with this. Drink it in Australia. We are good. They are insane. Rocky Flintoff scored some runs, to be fair. He's going to be good. The Women's Day 9 Ashes Test starts this week, as does the Blokes Tour of Sri Lanka. Darcie Brown and Georgia Voll are on the show, as is Izzy Westbury. In news even closer to home, Mitch Owen is the greatest cricketer of all time, as he takes his Hobart Hurricanes to their first ever Big Bash trophy with a 39-ball 100. The Hurricanes are currently absolutely blind, and why not? What a summer it's been. We've had some fun. We've had some laughs. Don't let the bastards get you down, whether that be your dad, your colonial dads, or your boss that thinks he's your dad. It's one of the all-time great summers. Drink it in. Pezza, it's an enormous show this week, and there's just so much to discuss. I don't know where to begin, but this has been great fun.
It certainly has, mate. Thank you for that. And, following up on the England drive-by to begin with, clearly the response to that will be, and should be, and is obsessed.
Yes.
From us.
Yeah. Rent-free.
Rattled.
Yes.
Rent-free,
right.
obsessed.
Totally.
And on it goes, correctly so.
That's how it works.
And just echoing what you said, love England. Very ready for a change in tonality of the tribal chat that's gone on this summer.
Yep.
Ready for it and good for it. All good. There's going to be some good stuff. There'll be some dreadful stuff.
That's how it goes.
We have dreadful stuff closer to home, depending on your proclivities, of course, and your political proclivities. I have a few items I'd like to share with you at no notice.
Okay.
To begin with.
Always good.
Well, the first is from Damien Martin. January 22, not January 6. Although I'm sure there were some posts there too. Now, I just need you to see. I'm going to show you this. I'm sorry this isn't queued up on YouTube or for people listening through the ears, but just imagine, or just go into his his X site. But congratulations to the 47th US president at real Donald Trump, from being at the Mar-a-Lago Club to being back in the White House. Well done, and look forward to the next 4 years and hopefully some golf. Now, he's entitled, don't need to say he's entitled to his views. Of course he is. I mean, most people voted for Trump. By definition, that's not an unusual thing to think.
And if your guy wins, you got to celebrate.
Fucking oath.
Your team wins.
To do that.
Get in and around it.
It was the creation of a meme that he, I presume, has sorted himself. That I'd like to show you. He goes, I don't know if you've seen it, but I will describe firstly. It appears to be an image of Damien Martin and Donald Trump on some kind of dais with 7 US flags behind them.
Yeah.
Damien Martin is holding his blazer over his shoulder, just so, kind of looking longingly into the camera. And he's just presented Donald Trump with a Damien Martin number 30 ODI jersey. Upon Donald Trump's election as 47th US president, on top of being 45th.
Yeah.
So that was the way Damien Martin has honoured Donald Trump is to create a picture of Marto giving Donald Trump a Damien Martin number 30 one-day jersey from circa 2002-03. And Trump's holding it while Martin straddles a blazer over his shoulder. So, just saying to balance things out, I wouldn't say all's well in the nation.
God damn it, Marto. You were such a pure, graceful, elegant cricketer.
Go, I say. Just saying that, it's not all located. Just let him cook.
Let him cook.
I think let everybody cook. He does go on to say, people haven't got the joke yet, and he loves the immature abuse, keeps us all laughing here. He followed me on Twitter as the 45th president, and memes got made, so I posted it up. Yeah. I didn't make it up. So he's clarifying. Have a laugh and stay positive, my friends. Throwing abuse from random accounts is a crazy emoji. And
Yeah.
I can't disagree with that.
Well, random accounts sort of getting behind stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
I completely agree with Marto.
No.
Completely agree with what he said there. Yeah.
But
I did a gig with Marto once. I don't know why you weren't there, but it must have been before I moved down to Melbourne and interviewed him on stage, and just a complete gentleman, lovely guy. And what a cover drive.
This is what happens. IRL.
Yeah.
IRL, no problem.
Yep.
Online, people are different.
I got a couple of questions. I just got a couple of questions.
And could be close to home with that as well.
Yep.
All of us come across differently online.
Yeah.
It's not just Marto.
When I look at that, I think, what a player.
Hell of a stick, particularly through the offside.
Incredible.
Unmatched purity.
Yep. Subcontinent, Australia.
Oh.
I'm sure there was Ashes runs
The
in
one
there.
that keeps coming up where he just bunts the ball.
Wow.
That's Robelinda's finest work.
That really is blazer over the shoulder.
Oh.
With Trump on a stage, handing him an ODI jersey.
Another quote that's come in, just another item, yes, online. This is via the Ahmed Ali Butt podcast.
Yeah.
This is from Pakistan, and this is a quote courtesy of Ahmed Shahzad. Okay? Are you ready?
Sure.
He says, being good looking has caused me a lot of problems. There's more.
That's a good start. That's a good start.
Let him explain. In our field, if you look good, know how to dress, and speak well, some people start to resent you. I've been a target within the Pakistani team for this. I'm not defending myself here, but others have also faced this.
Yeah.
If your fan following grows and people appreciate you, it's hard for some senior players to accept.
Yeah.
I just thought that
it can happen.
It might be discussed through a cricket prism as well.
It can happen.
Generally speaking, I think at the grade level,
Yes.
there's not a lot of resentment for a good-looking man. It's more that player is milked socially for everything that they've got.
Got to get in the slipstream there,
It's a vicarious situation. I don't think there's a lot of resentment through that. But who knows? In this online era with your fan following growing, etc. Perhaps that does flip around. Let us know if you're playing grade cricket these days. But it used to just be like, tell us every story that you have of all of the good things, sexually and otherwise, that have happened to you, and vicariously we will live through you. And you can stay in the team as well, irrespective of your ability.
Totally, yeah. You've been afforded aesthetic privilege, and I want to know some of the privileges that you've received.
That's right. The manifestations of said privilege. Now, I wouldn't say it like that because people are like, oh, you read books, do you?
Yeah.
No,
I've never been at a club where someone's like, "Oh, he's so hot." Aw.
Yeah, I'm so sick of looking at this beautiful man. People will just say. I mean, there's a lot of health between men in that respect.
Yeah,
talking about men's cricket, obviously,
of course.
So there were the two items I wanted to bring. I don't know where you'd like to, because I just feel like it's just a cacophony of online insanity this week.
Totally, yeah.
So and people are chomping at the bit. It's like, where do you go? It's a candy store.
And we are mere bulls in a china shop, which is next to the candy shop.
I'm getting to kid stuff.
Now, the Women's Ashes is it's reaching its conclusion. And Australia lead the series 12-0, which is how it's often felt in the men's series, despite being awarded 1 point each instead of the point-scoring system across multi-formats in the women's. But so the test starts on Thursday at the MCG, day-night game, of course. I think it's live on Fox and 7, isn't it? You got a couple of options there, So... Look, the games have happened. There was one close game, I suppose, where the rain came and, Heather Knight threw a bat, but it was hosing down, to be fair.
England looked okay.
It looked okay.
Not enough, but okay.
And then the last game in the T20 series, it was just pumping. It was. Yeah. So that makes it.
Is that our wrap of that?
Well, I think that most people who listen to this saying,
yeah.
Get to the bit that you know what's coming.
Say the names though. Mooney. It's just
an all-time great.
It's the best batter in the world right now.
It's an all-time great.
I'm going to say it.
Yep.
Wolfie Wareham, 3-4. I mean, it's spin to win.
Yeah.
It's
they can catch.
Yep.
Lots of positives.
They're better at cricket skills.
Yeah, compared to the opposition. Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Here's what John Lewis said.
Now, who's John Lewis?
He's the coach. He's the coach of the England side.
Of England,
Yep.
who's been facing several questions about the performance of his Chargers.
Yes.
Now that they're 12-0 down.
And this has been on the back of what happened with Alex Hartley being refused interview with English players because she questioned the fitness of the side.
Yes.
And that's how this has all stemmed from there.
Some players.
Some players. Now, I'm going to give you the full context of the quote, okay? John Lewis said this. On Sunday morning, pretty much every Australian in the eastern suburbs was in the water. There's about 1 million kids down there and they were doing surf lifesaving or playing touch rugby. For me, that's a cultural difference. I definitely think Australia have an advantage in terms of athleticism, and also our talent pool at the moment is small. So it's important for us to grow the game. Yeah. So
he walked from Bondi to Coogee, by the way, as well.
one of the great walks.
Yes. So
and he was also backing his charges. Sorry, I've accidentally in this agenda here, I've actually just put the same quote in twice. But he was saying, he's seen the team train. He's never seen a more professional group. They put an enormous amount of effort and energy into their training sessions. A great group of charges that he's got there. But also,
great group.
Touch footy, surf lifesaving. How are you supposed to compete with that? Well, they can't catch if the Australian team gets to have a coffee shop open at 7 a.m. Don't get that in London.
Okay, so look, just because it needs to be done, it's a guy, defending the quality of his team that he's in charge of. Right. We've seen coaches do this before.
What's he supposed to do?
It's a coach making suggestions about, trying to deflect. I suppose it's a deflection. I mean, remember when Australia lost to India under Justin Langer? That's when JL pulled out they've got 1.4 billion. They should be doing this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not word for word, but it was basically it. We all reach for these things, right? But
look, the Australian team in the past have said that the Bangladeshis, when we lost over there in a white ball series, they were coming from the right height. They were low. They were low to the ground, the right trajectory. Heights. The West Indies in the series a week before that, they were coming from a steeper trajectory, and on those decks, we just couldn't compete with that. What are we supposed to do? That's a height thing, okay?
You can't be expecting us to breed the correct heights for different...
So your team loses and some things start to being said which don't make sense.
All right, so let's step through it. Let's step through it, because a couple of things I pick up from it. Huge win for touch rugby.
To
start with.
Your Benji Marshall types.
I mean, when you're... Right now, particularly in the eastern suburbs, touch rugby, which is your legs and your unions, etc., is under siege.
It's under siege.
Aussie rules.
Yeah.
Andrew Dillon straight on the phone to the ECB here, going, "You've got this wrong." Yeah. Actually, a lot of private schools are playing Aussie rules right now.
Yeah.
So huge win for touch rugby to start with.
Under the threat of property developers.
I would call out that not everybody in Australia has access to the surf for your surf lifesaving and whatnot.
Interesting.
It has been pointed out, and will be pointed out later in this show, that many Australian women's players, for example, come from the country, didn't grow up near the water at all.
Yeah, okay, yeah. But they might have had like some sort of ravine.
Just of all the names of bodies of water you could have called for there. Ravine. But here's what I like about it.
Okay, yeah. What do you?
Okay.
No one's talking about what you like about it.
There's an enormous insult within it, that in the implicit suggestion that Australia's gap over the English women's team is more to do with some kind of inherent cultural conditioning rather than the investment that the Australian women, Cricket Australia have put into women's cricket, the work and skills of the team themselves. That it's more like, listen, you grew up with it, you've got this advantage, right? But here's the flip side that I don't think people are talking about. As an Australian, I have actually always suspected that we have been inherently superior.
Yeah.
And you got to understand, this is a guy, John Lewis, he's 12-0 down in an Ashes. Yeah. And so has he not said the actual endpoint dream of an Australian, and it would work in reverse as well. We'll say he's 12-0 down, he's getting battered and bruised by elite Australian athletes. He's got nowhere to hide, it's across formats, and he's still got to go to the MCG and get something in a test.
In a test.
Right? And there he is doing the quintessential, archetypal, kind of bronzed Australian stereotypical walk, Bondi to Coogee. I mean, he can't go to Bronte, really, but he's decided to keep going. He's gone. He's surveyed the scene, and he's just gone. They're just better. He's just looked talk about being rattled as a coach. He's looking at the water. He's seeing kids do surf lifesaving. He's seeing games of touch footy, and he's like, I can't compete with these.
Yeah, yeah.
And isn't that what we've been asking for a long time?
Here's what he doesn't realise. When you go to Bondi and you see all these people, 90% of them are English.
Or Kiwi.
You go down to St Kilda
Irish.
here in Melbourne.
Yeah.
They're Irish backpackers, you know? You can't tell me that Ireland couldn't put out a fucking fierceful bowling attack.
Yeah.
When you go down to Bondi or St Kilda.
But he doesn't.
Or over to the west as well.
He doesn't see that. He's just looking out to the heads.
Yeah.
Just going, I've got nowhere to hide here. This is just an inherently athletic nation that I will never ever beat. It's unfair. It's an unfair advantage, culturally speaking.
I do find it weird that they're wearing 3 Lions jerseys everywhere.
Like he spoke
with Lampard 8 on the back.
They're singing "Swing Low."
You don't think the Euros are the biggest thing in Bondi every 4 years?
He's rattled from pillar to post, though. You know, he's really said the quiet part out loud. Like the part, as far as I understand, with England is like these are uncivilized, immoral brutes who are inherently sportier than us. Like it's the ultimate excuse. It's their climate. It's the breeding.
Yeah,
you know. I thought Barney, our dear friend, tried to make this point last week ever so subtly and in the great English way by saying winning is important to you. I sat there sort of bemused going, what's it meant to be?
Yeah.
But England is now in a phase of inspire and entertain and perverting what sport actually is in order to justify them being fucking shit.
But haven't you ever walked through Clapham and thought, this is just an incredible, species of human that we're seeing here? You go into a slug and lettuce during a Wallabies game?
England, look, correct the record. England's not fucking shit at the moment. You know, they got some players, but
they can put a team out.
It is sort of like, that is what he said is sort of like, that is when it gets to game, set, match, doesn't it? He's just surveying the scene of a beach and saying, this is unfair.
Yeah.
Despite you correctly pointing out that everyone there is likely English.
How I actually think is that is that we're the best and we'll never lose again.
Yeah. Because isn't that the tribe? That's the ultimate tribal conversation that goes on, isn't it? It's like we are superior to you, except that the people who are saying it have got Dorito crumbs on their chest. Yeah,
you ever see those people on Instagram who do vlogs and they're like they're English people and they're living in Australia and they'll go back to the UK and they'll be like, here are 8 things that I like about Australia compared to the UK, and they'll complain about England and they'll say nice things about Australia. Yeah. I don't often see that the other way around, to be fair. Maybe I'm just getting fed a different algorithm, but there is a constant theme there. Like if it's sunny all the time, you're generally happier. But what I find actually more interesting is like Australia have had bad teams historically, right? And probably less terribly bad teams than what England have had in our lifetimes anyway, right? How come like this level of capitulation doesn't really happen when we go there? Like that's more of a mentality thing. Like if what happened, or if what is happening to the England team now happened to an Australian team, like you just wouldn't. It's just not culturally accepted. I'm not saying like the English are accepting it, but it just wouldn't be allowed to happen.
Well,
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we go into review mode. Like that's when we start bringing in like former banking titans to put together like 50-page reports.
Yeah.
That essentially excoriate anyone who had anything to do with the project that lost.
Yeah.
And we all distance ourselves from it at the time, which is a shame for people that you know and love. They're often family.
I mean, the SCB are going to conduct a review into the series when the Ashes is over, apparently. They're conducting a review.
It would be funny if they did a review and like anthropologists came in and just went like, no, the VO2 max is better.
Yeah.
The one rep bench.
Yeah, I mean, just at its simplest form, I like watch some of the fielding from the English in this series, and it's like, it is complete garbage. But then you look at like, Ash Gardner. Oh, what a great swimmer she must be. It's
ridiculous. It's a hell of a leap to like drop a catch and go, well, they've got more sun.
Yeah.
Like it's a big leap.
Yeah.
And it is an insult. It is really down to investment. Cricket Australia has been first to fully professionalise women's cricket. Ipso facto, ergo, therefore, they're better.
Yeah.
Other teams will catch up.
Yeah.
But it's good English stuff as well.
Totally. Shall we speak to Darcie Brown and Georgia Voll?
Yeah, we'll talk about that Tom Curran thing up there.
Yeah, we'll talk about the other stuff on the other side.
We should.
All right. Well, this interview and all interviews are brought to you by Ponting Wines. You can use the code GETAFEW, all one word, with 20% off all full price wines using that code. Get-a-few, all one word, pontingwines.com.au. Saw Ponting last night. Obviously, we were at the ground down there in Hobart, then we flew back to the studio this morning here in Melbourne. So, didn't get to circuit, unfortunately. But it was great to see Punter yesterday, wearing a white belt, I'll have you know. But also, I would have thought he'd be tipping a few of his own product in with the boys last night. Obviously in the backroom staff. Heavily involved in the Hobart Hurricanes and their success. We'll talk about the Big Bash a little bit later on in the show, but, Ponting Wines, I mean, it looked like Tim Dave was having a couple of Ponting Wines this morning when he was on ABC.
Well, that's their
TV.
prerogative. That's their prerogative.
Get a few is the code at pontingwines.com.au. 20% off all full-price wines using that code. All right, here's Darcie Brown and Georgia Voll.
Okay, we're speaking with two members of a team that are the toast of the nation right now. They're 12-0 up as we go to air. Could change any moment. Over England in the multi-format Ashes series. They're fresh as far as we understand from athletic pursuits on the beach or touch rugby or surf lifesaving or any of the myriad ocean coastal activities that give this team an unfair fitness advantage. They're eyeing off the utopia of a 16-0 whitewash. They're deep in preparations, but they've taken time to speak to us. Darcie Brown and Georgia Voll, for the first time, welcome to the Great Cricketer podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. Thanks. Yeah, so glad that we're on here.
Well, that sounded insincere, but it's it is. We're really pleased to have you. Now, look, I'm just going to go from the top here. Speaking to Triple M recently, your colourful teammate Grace Harris, who was having fun with it, said this: "We really want to embarrass the Poms here, not just beat them." Now, there's a lot of Australians listening. We do have global listenership. Let's forget them for now. They're keen to have this confirmed. So is that the vibe within the squad heading into the Test match?
I don't know. I think so. I don't think we really spoke about it. Then Grace said it, but I think everyone's jumped on board. To be honest, I think we'd love to make it a whitewash. That's for sure. I mean, if that embarrasses them or not, I think we'll be pretty happy. So we don't really mind.
You say you're not in charge of England's emotions, right? They can feel however they'd like to feel. You guys are just out to win.
Yeah, to be honest, I mean, I wouldn't want to lose 16-0. So, and if we did, I think we'd probably feel embarrassed too. So, that's the vibe. We obviously want to smash them in this Test match and, do everything we can.
Oh, yeah. Now we're talking. I mean, if you guys ever lost 16-0, you wouldn't be welcome home. Let's be right about that. Like that's the difference in the culture. George, I know you weren't there, but Darcie, you were there. Like, a lot of talk about what happened in the last Ashes when the team was over in the UK, and a lot of talk about how there was some vitriol from the crowd. I think the team was really fired up about that. Are you pleased about what our fans have given back? Are we happy with obviously the turnout's been great, but have you liked what you've seen and heard?
The turnout's been really good. I reckon, to be honest, they can give a little bit more stick to England. I think we're a little bit nice, but I don't know. I think hopefully this Test match people can maybe not start throwing stuff, but just get into them a little bit more. I think would be nice.
I sense it's something that the team has been quiet about, because when we talk, we will ask in a second about what it would be like to be in the opposition, being down like this, and the reaction of those guys being over here. But I sense that it was a tough time for you guys at the Ashes last time around, and there is even though you came home with the trophy, I know that they said it didn't feel right or whatever. Which is
England won 8-8.
It was a huge surprise to hear that from them. But has that formed some kind of motivation this time around to be so clinical in your destruction of England?
Yeah, definitely. I think we were obviously disappointed, but at the same time, we came home with the trophy and England didn't have it. So I think the way England spoke about, they won 8 all. We sort of really wanted to show them what winning's actually about, and hopefully we show them again in the Test match.
What's the would I be right in detecting has been a little bit of friction between the teams this series? Like we pick up a little bit on the stump mark, but when like Eccleston's going at Elisa Healy and Elisa Healy's calling her a pelican, which I think is quite a good sledge, to be honest. How is the vibe between the teams this series?
I mean, I haven't really been out there long enough, but I think the vibe's fine. Obviously, there's always very healthy banter going across both teams, but they're probably going to act like that because they are, 12-0 down. And I would say if we were probably 12-0 down, I wouldn't say much, but I feel like it would be the same. So they're probably just, probably not happy with the way they're going, but we've got the points in our pocket, so we don't really need to worry about that.
We've seen some pretty brutal headlines. Ashes domination, superior athleticism, bizarre claims, night gutted after Australia pile women's Ashes pain on England.
Oh.
Do you guys have any sense of sorrow or concern over how difficult this experience would be for your opposition?
No.
I guess it would be pretty tough going across so far and not winning. But, they're a quality side and they've still got one more game to try and prove it. But, hopefully we smash them.
Darcie, a couple of questions. What's the weather doing and has the team let you recover after the camera panned to you in Canberra?
I knew this one was coming. It's currently not raining at the moment. I was a little bit distraught that got put on camera, but it's all fun and games. And it's often a joke that all of us girls do all the time when it rains, and it was just unfortunate that I was the one that got caught doing it. Great movie. That's all I got to say. Yeah.
Now, it's usually the responsibility of a senior player to take a junior player under the wing. Has there been any sort of hazing ceremony in the group so far? Are you happy everyone knows your name in the team? Did you have to sing in front of the team or anything like that? Like, how's the experience been for you so far?
It's been great coming into the environment. In terms of someone taking me under their wing, I think Beth Mooney would probably say she has. And, the other night when I played my T20 debut, she said it was my dream come true playing with her, but I actually said it's probably your dream come true playing with me. But, no, I think it's been awesome to come into the team and, be welcomed so well. And I actually haven't had to have any sort of initiation, which has been pretty great on my behalf. But I think we were talking about it down in Hobart that some of the girls had to carry an avocado around for the whole for their first game or something like that. But I missed that. Thank goodness for that. I mean, I love avocado. I probably would have just ate it, but yeah.
Smuggling fruit across state lines. That's the kind of hazing ceremony that's going on. Okay, now you mentioned Moons there. Okay, so Moons she's 10th all-time ODI runs for Australia, 14th all-time Test runs, 2nd all-time T20 runs. She's taken the gloves at different times for Australia as well, obviously. Do you think it's time that Beth Mooney gets her flowers from the nation? Because I feel like she's so underrated, yet still being like an all-time great of the sport. Now, she's obviously had the privilege of playing with you, Georgia, as well, so there's that. But is it time that the nation gives flowers to Moons?
I don't know. I think she's been such a classy player for such a long time.
Yeah.
She can be underrated at times, but I think she probably likes that, being underrated and just going about her business. And I think people probably expect that from her. So, and she probably expects it from herself as well. So I think it's a win-win. I think she's pretty happy staying out of, the media and things like that. But yeah, I think she's done such a great job for a really long period of time, and I don't think she's stopping anytime soon.
But you're coming for a spot, basically.
Yeah. No. I'd say yes to her, but yeah, no to you guys.
All right. Well, look, let's get to the specific question here. So England's coach John Lewis, he highlighted cultural differences as a reason for the gap between both teams. So, look, I'm putting words in his mouth, I guess, but almost as though that the gap between both teams is less to do with the specific work and skills of your team and more to do with something inherent to Australians, which I think Australians listening to would be like, well, yeah, it's just sort of, it's in the DNA.
Yeah.
But, I mean, when you think about the gap between both teams this time around, I'm just asking seriously, what do you put it down to?
That's you.
That's a big question for a couple young people, but or probably, I don't know, our domestic setup. I mean, they've got the 100 and their other sort of things over in England, but I think the way that the CA have invested in women's cricket and even our junior pathways too has been really good. From under 15s, everything's paid for, even when we were growing up. So probably in England it's only just starting, I'm assuming. I have no idea. But probably just the investment and the support that we have. But I've got no idea what England's like, to be honest. But I think the way we go about it is a lot better than most other countries.
What percentage of time at training would you guys spend on fielding, either individual or team-based fielding? And do you think if England discover the T drill, it's going to be over for you guys?
I mean, at most trainings, at all optional trainings, 100% of the group's there.
Yeah.
So there's not really any optional training, and if you're not there at an optional training, people are probably like, where are they? And in terms of, I don't know what theirs looks like, but I think everyone's eagerness to get better, and obviously being such a quality team for such a long period of time, I think that's instilled in, the young players coming through as well, and everyone's sort of, keep wanting to keep getting better. And I'd say we probably field every training session, don't we?
Yeah,
even if it's a team quick 20, 30-minute field, everyone will be there and doing that. So
you guys are sort of controversially suggesting that you just practice a lot.
Just practice cricket.
You practice fielding and you become good at it.
I just love it so much, yeah.
So did anyone grow up surf lifesaving or touch rugby or anything like that? Like,
I didn't live anywhere near the water, so
I think most of us probably grew up in the country, and
I think we all played different sports, but I'm sure there's lots of different sports in England too.
Yeah, interesting.
Okay. Yeah. Just so you just take your catches and that. That's interesting. Okay.
Drop a few, catch a few, go home.
Get to training though.
Just get to training.
Yeah.
just jump in the bus and off you go, yeah.
You've both been involved in like pieces of individual brilliance in the field this series. But like, who's the best? Who's the best player in the team?
Who's the best player in the
Who's the best player in the team? And would any player in the world make your team?
Oh, that's tricky.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, but now you have to think about it, which is even better.
Yeah. I don't know how to answer that. Probably, I don't know. Everyone has their day, so anyone is probably the best player in the world on their day. Just
in
about.
the Australian team?
Yeah, in the Australian team, yeah.
That's pretty safe.
That's good.
Specifically.
Who's the best fielder? Who's the best fielder in the team?
Oh, probably Litch.
I'd say Phoebe Litchfield.
And she'd let you know about that as well, I reckon.
Quietly.
She talks about how she can take some screamers or how she's imagining taking screamers and stuff like that. But
although I think Ashy. I think Ash fancies herself a little bit.
Yeah, Wolf's quite good.
Yeah. I think everyone's quite good.
Did they grow up near the water?
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay.
Did someone do they have pools in their backyard?
Everyone jumps on the bus and gets some training, you know what I mean?
I got another question as well. Like, people know, and I know it's England based, but a lot of us have been reading about Sophie Eccleston, for example, refusing an interview with Alex Hartley in response to Hartley's comments about the team. But more broadly, like, I'd love to know your thoughts on the sort of job you think the media does critiquing or criticising women's cricket teams. You know, like, do you think sometimes it's warranted to be like, I'm not going to talk to you because that criticism was unwarranted? Or do you guys take a different view around the way the media operates?
I think it's difficult because I mean, if we didn't have anyone criticising us, it means no one's watching. And I think we've spoken about. Obviously, I haven't been in this team for very long, but you speak about during domestic cricket, and if people are having a go or criticising you on social media, it actually means they're watching, which can be a good thing. And you're a professional athlete, like you're going to get criticised. You could be. I think Moons got criticised the other day, and she scored 90. So I mean, you get criticised on a good day and a bad day. So I think it's just how you react to it, and obviously the media have a job to do as well. So it's how different people approach that and how they take it, I guess.
Lisa Stalaker said a couple of weeks ago, I'll talk to you about this one now. Said a couple of weeks ago that it would break Elisa Healy's heart not to play in the Ashes test. Are you ready to break the captain's heart?
I don't know. No, I'm not ready to break her heart, to be honest. She's been in the team and been a very great player for such a long time, and obviously I would love to pull on the baggy green, but I'm also happy to bite my time and see what happens in the future. But I think if she gives herself every chance to play, I think she'll do a great job. So I might just be filling up the Gatorade bottles.
Let's talk about the fixture itself. I mean, what sort of conditions are you expecting for the day-night game? How do you think England is going to shape up in any ways that are different from how they have so far?
Well, I guess, they've got nothing to lose really, but they've also got a lot to lose at this point. So, I mean, they've been losing, but then they don't want to come off losing it all. So I think they'll take a little bit of a different approach, to be honest. I think they'll be ready to sort of stick it up us and say that we can't whitewash them, whereas we'll be doing the opposite. But yeah, I think it'll be really exciting, and hopefully the ball's hooping around, and there's a good crowd there on the first day as well. So as a bowler, I say that
we don't want that.
I know it's sort of been a bit of a spin-friendly series so far, but I mean, just a word for Kingy. How good has Kingy been? It's been incredible. I mean, how are they coming out in the nets? Obviously, you guys don't go to the nets because you're in the pool most of the time, but I mean, how have they been coming out?
She's been bowling fantastic. Obviously, she came in the T20s, and I don't think she'd played a game for a few years or something like that, and she is into the power play and, bowling the toughest overs. Obviously, the ball's been coming out outstanding for her, ball turning a lot. I don't actually think she's bowled too much in the nets.
Yeah.
I think the schedule's been quite tight, and she's just doesn't need to really train, does she? She's still at training, but she's probably batting. But yeah, the ball's been coming out really good for her, and I expect nothing less coming into this test match.
Is there anyone you like to line up in the nets, Georgia, when you're batting as well, though, like a senior operator? You strike me as somebody who wants to knock off the senior players. Yeah. Is there anybody that you've got the wood over?
Are you step hitting Darcie Brown?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, she is.
No, I don't. I like to be a nice. I just wait my turn.
No, she lines up everyone.
No, I don't.
Well, what about you, Darcie? Is anyone you check upstairs with as well that you're not really liking? Who have you got the wood over?
Megan shoot on leaving.
Oh, that's nice. Darcie Brown, Georgia Voll, wishing you all the best for the test ahead at the MCG. The nation wishes for a whitewash, of course. Thanks so much for your time. I know it's a very, very tight schedule, and congratulations on the series so far.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks very much to Darcie Brown and Georgia Voll for joining us. And a shout out there if you're watching on, an apology if you're watching on YouTube as well. Zoom fucked up, basically, so you're not going to get the video for them. But if you're listening in audio, don't worry about it. Yeah, that's how it goes sometimes. So apologies for that. But thank you to Darcie and Georgia for joining the show. All right. Tom Curran got run out in the ILT20, a tournament that we're all watching heavily. And there's actually probably the best advertisement for that league right now. Now, Tom Curran is batting for Golf Giants against MI Emirates. Who would have thought you'd say that 10 years ago? So, the ball comes in from long off. Curran touches down at the striker's end. Then starts to walk back down the wicket as the ball's coming in. I'm sure many people have seen this, but...
The ball's in the air.
Nicholas Pooran collects the bounce throw and then takes the stumps as Curran is about, call it 30 centimetres out of his crease, walking back down to his striker button. Having touched in
and then departed while the ball was on its way to Pooran.
Who takes the stumps.
And just to be clear, not departing to attempt another run.
No.
He's touched in
and
then commenced a very casual walk, presumably to his partner.
The umpire then asked Nicholas Pooran, Nicky P, if he wants to withdraw his appeal. He doesn't. It goes to the third umpire. It's out. Now
this is several minutes elapsed while this was happening too. It was a strange sequence of events.
So this is from the ABC's reporting of this incident. This next part, as the Englishman walked off the field, that being Tom Curran, his Giants coach and former England manager Andy Flower approached the boundary and appeared to tell Curran to stand his ground. After a 3.5 minute standoff, Curran made his way back to the crease as fellow Englishman Tom Banton, fielding in the outfield for the Emirates side, appeared to wave him back. Now, I've not seen a single person say that this wasn't out, and I think every single person said this was out. What the fuck's going on? It's just another example of what is going on over there. What's the culture? It's a cultural thing. It has to be. It's consistency across the board. Like it's incredible. And Nicholas Pooran seemed like upset. Who's the captain, by the way? Pooran's the captain of the side. He's the one who makes the appeal, takes the bail. I mean, it's just out. I couldn't imagine a game where it would not be out.
Well, it is upsetting because the pictures that we received looked to me as though the umpires dealt with Pooran in a way where he was the onus of morality was on him to withdraw the appeal. He was almost made to feel ashamed for having done this, as though he had kind of transgressed some unilaterally understood common sense. He'd been gaslit, basically. Yeah. And it was curious as to why in that circumstance the umpire felt that the onus was on Pooran to withdraw rather than the onus being on Tom Curran to ask why the fuck he did that.
Yeah.
Because to watch it, I felt exactly the same as you. I'm just left with the question of what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing and why are you doing it? And so I'll never be in Tom Curran's head. I do think this is even more egregious and gratuitous than Bairstow in so far as deciding to transcend the laws for your own whims, which is all it was. This is Tom Curran going, I am in. I have decided I am in, and I will commence the next thing I'm doing while everybody else is finishing the play.
Yeah.
There's no argument that he was not seeking an advantage because, hypothetically speaking, if Nicholas Pooran misses that ball while it is still live, Tom Curran is taking a run.
Yeah, they're going to run. Yeah.
But this idea that you can just touch yourself in and go, that'll do.
I'm good here, boys.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I've decided I can leave the crease now. There was no urgency for him to do that.
It's the weirdest. It's the weirdest time to just leave the crease because the ball, when he touches in, the ball must have been 2 meters away from bouncing, and the throw, the ball would have been I'm guessing maybe 5-6 meters away. And then he starts leaving when the ball is still on the trajectory to the keeper. Now, if that ball hits a bit of rough or a sprinkler head like Nathan Lyon received that time in the Ashes when Pat Cummins threw the ball at Edgbaston, and it bounces over Pooran's head or runs on the floor, and they're definitely scapping through for a single, definitely. And with the officiating of this as well, or some sort of moral police coming in over the top. I know that's a loaded word in cricket now, morality, but for someone to be no, this isn't right. No. That's the egregious part. The officiating is mate, you're out. Why is no one fucking taking control on the field from an officiating standpoint, being no, that's just, there is no give and take here. It's just out. Like I said, it's poor umpiring is what it is as well.
It's a player literally taking the law into his own hands. It is just unilaterally deciding this ball is dead while it is coming in.
Yeah.
And that's the odd part psychologically. And not to mention the sense of certitude for players and the coach, Andy Flower, to make Nicholas Pooran feel like he's engaged in some kind of sharp practice when he's just a guy who's got gloves. Anybody who's got gloves knows the feeling of a batter being out of their crease and how great it is to destroy the stumps in front of them.
See you later.
To take the bails. I mean, it is all of a broader... I mean, is there a broader pattern to discuss here? Is everything okay?
Yeah.
In England. I mean... Suffice to say, Golf Giants, who needed 18 off 13 at that point, go on to win the game, with a ball to spare.
Right.
Tom Curran stays almost to the end. So it has an impact on the deeply important ILT20 fixture.
Let's talk about the Wisden Team of the Year. It's an interesting one. It's an interesting Team of the Year.
A couple of friends at Wisden as well.
So I'll give you the batting order. Jaiswal and Duckett are opening.
So, 41 people voted on this.
41.
By the way.
41.
There was 4 Australians.
Yeah.
But 41 journalists. It was largely global, primarily English.
So Jaiswal is opening the batting with Duckett. Kane Williamson, 3. Joe Root, 4. Harry Brook, 5. Kamindu Mendes, 6. Jamie Smith, the English wicketkeeper, by the way, that's who he is, 7. Jadeja, 8. Gus Atkinson, 9. Matt Henry, 10. Bumrah is the captain and at 11. So the top 3 teams in the World Test Championship table, which we know no one can figure out how it works, but the top 3 teams are Australia, South Africa, not in that order, and Sri Lanka are the 3rd best team, according to the World Test Championships table. And between those 3 teams, they have one representative in Kamindu Mendes, batting at 6. So now look, when I look at the names, Pezza, Jaiswal, Duckett, Williamson, Root, Brook, Mendes, Smith, Jadeja, Atkinson, Henry, Bumrah, I'm thinking like, yeah, they've had some good years. Like they've got those are guys that have done some stuff. They obviously played a lot of cricket, but feels like there might be a bit of an issue with the selection process of the side, which is only going to wind people up. This doesn't matter. The team's not playing against anyone. It's like, it's probably not a great representation. And when you sort of throw in a couple of like sort of 5 English guys who have lost more games than they've won, maybe it's not spot on. Might not be spot on that side, I reckon. I might have had a couple of changes in there.
My first thought when I read it was, this will have been confected around like a period when these teams that won most of their games didn't play. Like there'll be some like trick to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then I figured out, no, it was literally the calendar year where everybody played a lot of cricket. Now England played more cricket than most. And I had the same response as you. How England makes up nearly half of the 11 of the team of the year, the best players of the year.
Yeah.
That same English team lost more games than they won, yet half of the team, just about, is in the team of the year.
Yeah.
This has got nothing to do with the players that are in that team.
No.
Zero. Is there a conclusion for those who vote? Like, is there anything that can be seen from there? Like, what does it do for the integrity of that 11? Like, for when we, like, I hope from here, I really hope from here that Wisden continues on in this vein.
You have to now.
Like, irrespective.
Got to commit to it.
They have their Cricketers of the Year in the Bible, in the Almanac, which gives them a wonderful opportunity to explain to people that there must be some proportion of English players in it.
Yeah.
Which is great. Everybody wins out of that.
Right.
I hope that that's what this is now. It's something where there has to be a definite proportion of English representation, irrespective of their results that year. So again, Australia this year was at 1-7, lost 2 in that year. It was the West Indies in Brisbane and
that's right,
and India in Perth.
That's Perth. That's right. Yep.
0 players make that 11.
Yeah.
So So five English players, they lose more than half their games. Australia has 0 representatives.
Yeah.
They win 7 and lose 2, and they're in the World Test Championship final. Now South Africa, how many? They finished atop the World Test Championship ladder, right?
Who they play against Bangladesh, Pakistan, and the West Indies. Was it?
Yep.
No, Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
Sri Lanka.
So Australia also play West Indies, New Zealand, and India.
Yes.
Yes.
So for me, like, I think Jadeja is one of the greatest players to have ever played this game. The last 8 Test matches that India played in, he didn't play in all of those, but he did play in the 3 against New Zealand. They lost 3-0. They won 1 of the last 8 games of the Tests. So he's in there. Look, Bumrah's an all-time great. Don't know what the numbers are before that series, but yeah, no complaints. No complaints.
I don't have any complaints about Bumrah.
Bumrah, no, it's pretty good.
Being in there.
It's pretty good.
Good player.
Yeah.
But you do... I mean, how many English players make it if they win most of their games?
That's a good question.
And also, if 5 of them make it when they've lost most of their games, what does it say of the others who didn't make it? I mean, how
you going?
Negative has their impact been?
Yeah, that's right.
Anyway, yeah. I mean, is this Wisden launching its own like fish bait emoji vertical? I mean, that is a like a tried and true content strategy.
Yeah.
You know, Broady's led the way with that. Broady knows what he's doing.
Very good.
Is Wisden good? It knows what it's doing.
Very good
In this situation.
Well, it'd be hard to make a case against that because here we are talking about it.
It's hard to square it. It's hard to square 5 players out of 11 when you lose most of your games.
Have we ever spoken about the Wisden team of the year before? And here we are talking about it. Now, sure, it's off the back of some surf life saving stuff, some smog in Eden Gardens, and Tom Curran not staying in his crease. It's off the back of that. There's a bit of a pattern forming here, possibly. I don't know.
I just don't know how a team like Australia or South Africa have done so well, and yet none of the players have done well enough to usurp teams that have lost.
Well, they've won a lot of tosses, which has helped them. Yeah.
Do you think every person who participated in that process is diminished because of it, or do you think it embarrasses the entire thing, or is it just gold content strategy?
I think it's the latter. I think it's well played.
I think it as well. Yeah, well played.
Right. India and England at Eden Gardens. First of 5 T20s and 3 ODIs. Here's what happens in the game. Brook made 17 from 14 balls before being bowled by a wrong-un from Chakravarthi. Couple balls later, Liam Livingstone bowled nearly identical fashion. England went from 2 for 65 to 8 for 109, and then ultimately they were all out for 132. India's spinners in that game took 5 wickets. And here's what the vice-captain, Harry Brook, had to say before the second game in Chennai.
Well bowled India.
Well bowled India.
Better team.
We need to get better at playing,
right.
better plans. We'll need to formulate a plan to make sure that doesn't happen again.
That's right. We're always learning. We're new to
He said, I didn't face Bishnoi, but Chakravarthi is an exceptionally good bowler.
Okay.
So far, so good.
Good.
He's tough to pick.
Yep.
I think actually with the smog the other night, it was a lot harder to pick as well. Hopefully the air's a bit clearer here and we can see the ball a bit easier. Now, you know what's going to happen next. The exact same thing happens again. And then Shastri's on commentary.
Smog-based dismissals.
Smog-based dismissals. Shastri's on commentary and he's going, could you see it this time? and then Sonny's just gone like a complete diatribe about, they should be embarrassed, etc., etc. So, look, it hasn't been a great 7 days for England and English-based media outlets.
Sorry.
But maybe it's been great.
No. Aren't we concluded? This is all they know. They're good. They know what they're doing.
Yeah,
This
okay.
is gold content strategy. This is content strategy.
This is good.
Their mantra is inspire and entertain. The latter is definitely. Are they working on the former?
Yeah.
I mean, let's see, Ravi and Sunny, with respect to both networks here, they do belong together in the box in a moment like that. I needed that. So whoever made that happen, I think there's a lot of mergers have gone on at the moment.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much just one monopoly. Funny that in cricket. But those two getting together after Harry Brooks dismissed, having cited smog as a reason for the previous dismissal. I'm here for that. That's exactly what should be happening in that
Huge
situation.
7 days for the content machine. Well played, everyone. Everyone's played their part.
Everyone's played their part.
All right, we should get an English person on the show.
Out of fairness.
Someone that likes to give it back as well, historically speaking. Here's Izzy Westbury.
Well, with writer, broadcaster, lawyer, per isabelwestbury.com. Friend. And also a person whose first appearance on this show was in the first ever year of this podcast, back in 2017, in an episode that featured then CEO James Sutherland, who was conceding that, yes, he was champed by the BCCI. And the first female featured on mic on The Grade Cricketer as well, can I say. So,
is it coincidence, correlation that since then, since having conceded that he was champed by the BCCI and possibly come under their sway, that he's now got 2 kids that are dominating the cricket scene?
Interesting.
Oh, I think there's something behind that.
You look at the brain ticking over there as well.
Yeah. I'm just not saying. Annabelle Sutherland, the last time she played a red ball match, scored 200. Will's all right as well.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep.
So once you concede to the mighty and the powerful, good things will flow. That's what I get from that.
And that is the kind of commentary that people have enjoyed this summer with you being out here, Izzy. You've been plying your trade with Triple M, I think forming a wonderful contrast to the sort of the Merv Hughes end of the spectrum with the wonderful repartee of...
Uncanny how often the rota seems to just sort of coincide with, oh, look, there's me and Merv again.
It's like India and Pakistan in World Cups.
Yeah, it's amazing. All random, obviously. Random selection. And then, poof, it's for the greater good.
Yes,
Again.
for the greater good. Yeah.
But a couple of years now with Triple M. This is Australia-centric immediately. You are a person of many, strings to your bow.
What people don't realise is that in that contract is you will never watch England win a match on Australian soil. I started coming here in, I think, 2015, that Men's World Cup, when was that first sort of capitulation of English cricket. And then I missed the one series where I think they might have won, the men and the women won a few matches in the 2017, but that was it. They haven't won a single match since, the men or the women.
No, men didn't win in 2017.
Did they win a match?
No.
The women must have won something.
The women won a game in 2017.
A game.
That was the last time England won a game in Australia, 2017.
So I mean, the men's Ashes are next year. I'm a bit.
Yeah.
Izzy, do you feel like you have to play that up being out here? Like you're a very you're a woman of class. Of I'd say.
I play that bit up. Yeah, sure.
No, but like you're socially aware person. Do you feel when you come out here you have to play the embattled English, to feed out foil to feed out like a ravenous desire to be genetically superior in sports?
Oh yes, I'm sure we can come back to that. I don't think there's any other way of really playing it. I mean,
I've seen heaps of people with St George's Cross emojis on Twitter who play it differently.
Yeah.
To be fair, the Barmy Army were absolutely pelting it out at the Adelaide Oval when England were about 105 runs behind and 3 wickets left. Very kind of Titanic areas play on. Oh, I don't know. I think I always come out thinking it's just the ship's already sunk, frankly. Yeah. And normally it is. First ball.
Yeah. You know, like the dark old days of English cricket, which is described by, people like NASA, is like the 90s, right? Like the sort of late 80s, 90s when English cricket were in the doldrums. Like it doesn't feel like England are at that at all.
You say that, but I was listening to a podcast with both Nasser Hussain and Mike Atherton, who are both sort of, men of the 90s.
Yeah.
They were absolutely loving it because I think Hussain lost the... I think he lost the Ashes within about 12 days and he's like, oh, Heather Knight, she's lost it in 9. So, yeah, maybe we are back there. But it's all right. We've got Bazball. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Can you, we've just been discussing on the show if what's going on in the English psyche at the moment when you kind of aggregate John Lewis's comments, which we'll come to, the mantras to inspire and entertain, Tom Curran's a decision to take the law into his own hands. He was in, therefore he was in.
Well, surely we're just upholding the things which define English cricket, which is losing nobly in Australia in every facet of the game, and then also the fact that the spirit of cricket applies to us and we therefore have to apply it to everybody else. So I think we're just upholding traditions, the best of English traditions. Yeah, that's what's going on.
Do you feel like the Australian summer as a whole, because you've been here for all of it, haven't you? You were here for the Perth Test match?
Yeah.
So like... I've been saying especially anyway, that like it feels like it's been a really great summer of cricket in this country.
Well, you would say that, wouldn't you?
Well, I mean, look, it's gone well. Look, that's fair. It has gone well, okay, for the team that I like. That's true.
Just a wonderful commercially. Everyone's really into it.
Yeah. Numbers are up.
What is it about Australia winning that makes you think it's been a good summer?
No, well, I suppose
right.
I mean
Popular.
the interest in the cricket, but I mean, I guess those two go hand in hand, right? Like it's obviously a big series anytime England or India come out
and
here.
with you getting a nice little contract to commentate on the BBL as well.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. I think we were paid $42 for those
that's
games.
right.
Anyway,
well, Izzy would, I guess, yeah. There's a few lawyers in the room. There's an email, a contract.
Yeah. Have we signed anything?
Yeah.
No, but like, do you feel that as well? Like there's been interest in the cricket. Obviously, there are big series, but I feel like the Big Bash has been elevated. That's not hasn't always been the case.
I heard that the Border Gavaskar Trophy is bigger than the Ashes these days. So
but it's not.
Yeah,
it's not.
I mean, people need to settle down.
Yeah,
about
settle
that,
down with that stuff. Yeah, come on.
Until Kohli gets an Ashes 100, I'm hearing nothing.
He's failed in his career. Yeah, I think when the Ashes come here next year, people will remember how much we enjoy defeating one another, online and
If one's going to get paid to cover a series, you might as well big it up, right? So
yeah. But I guess my question is, do you feel like it's been a series of, not a series, a summer of that people are much more interested in compared to the previous years you've been here, even like last year, right?
Well, it's been great fun. I mean, the crowds have been good, haven't they, as well? Yeah, sure. Let's go with that. I don't think cricket was ever dying, though. We always talk about cricket sort of perennially dying, whether it be the one-day game or the red ball game or whatever. Comes in peaks and troughs. Sometimes cricket's crap, sometimes it's not. Yeah. I keep on saying I've had fun, but then Australia winning, there's only so much that you can take or that's healthy.
Yeah. I think that's complete. I mean, that makes complete sense.
Yeah.
How do you perceive the way Australians express their joy in victory? Because I know, are we just talking about like just root level tribalism? You're watching another.
No, I'm okay
group.
with that. I'm okay with the tribalism and the parochialism and the Aussies are hard graft and they just like to give it.
But it's the brand of parochialism,
But it's
right?
the next step. It's when you start feeling sorry for the English, like, well, we would have liked it to have been a bit more competitive, kind of thing. Or when it's a killing you by not. Elise Perry is really bad at that. She sort of goes, "Oh yeah, they actually were really good," and you're like, "No, you just trashed them."
Yeah,
it is worse killing someone with kindness. Yeah. That is the nastiest
I think we've
way
reached
to
that
do it.
stage.
Yeah.
We have reached that stage. I quite like the sort of. There was a point where England's social media team were trying to insist that everything was not falling apart at the seams. They put out a little video that had sort of, I don't know, players giving you the peace sign and lots of big smiles. And at some point it was vibes are good. And of course, about 3 hours later, the Australians put out one where vibes were actually really good.
Yeah.
So it's taking the piss sort of stage of things.
This obviously has been a disastrous series for the women. But like... Do you feel like it's because like the Australian women are one of the greatest sports teams that have ever been assembled in comparison to the opposition, right? So like when the English side, who were traditionally one of the strongest sides in the world to challenge and to rival the Australian side, when they seem so far apart, it feels like the gap between the top sides is bigger than it ever has been before.
Well, but it shouldn't be that. I think that's what the frustration is that actually we have comparable investment and money and infrastructure and domestic leagues, etc. At one point, it was just like, well, they've got Elise Perry, Elisa Healy, and Meg Lanning, so like they're just different.
Right.
And then they've all gone on in their careers, and then suddenly you've got friggin' Georgia Voll leaping out of nowhere, and Phoebe Litchfield just bringing back the KP switch hit. I mean, there was a point where it's like, oh, they're genetically superior, and now it's about the Bondi to Coogee walks. I've just been schlumping up and down the Great Yarra Trail, because I thought, do it enough times this week, I'm in with the chance. That test match.
You could definitely play. You could play.
It out there. Research onto great walks in English countrysides. So there's a good one from Eastbourne to White Cliffs of Dover. I think that might be the next generation of English cricketers. I've been doing the research. You can walk from Oxford to Birmingham. Nice canal path there as well. You too could play cricket for England.
You mentioned two of the competing reasons that have been offered to explain the gap between both of these sides, but I feel like kind of ridiculed them both. As in, I think the diplomatic thing to say has been, well, Australia's investment has been superior and for longer. They got in first, early.
The
early mover
WBBL
advantage.
in its 10th season,
right? Oh, and then the other one is the genetic advantages.
Yeah, that was the last time that England capitulated. Was
Right.
that Australians are just genetically superior. I mean,
But do you think, like you just mentioned, that the investments are relatively the same? I mean, we're
they
here
are.
to be educated.
They're
So that's, you don't really accept that as a reason for the gap between the sides. Like, this is, should England be near Australia given the amount of money that's knocking around?
well, I mean, if we could just move it near the equator and get a bit more sun, then there you go.
So it is a sun thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Vitamin D deficient.
tell that to the poor Yorkshire men and women. I mean, they seem to do quite well at various Olympics, but
They got their own issues.
yeah, that's true. Actually, let's not go down that little rabbit hole. I don't know. Australia, 10 years. It's been pretty bloody awful, to be absolutely honest. And comparably, the investment, the progressiveness. We always like to look at the Aussies and go, "Oh, you're whisper it, but they're 30 years behind us," and you're like, "Well, they're not. They're about 10 years ahead." So. There was definitely a feeling of like, oh, I don't know, the Aussies are still sexist and racist and whatever, and it's like, yeah, but they also like to win, so the investment's there.
Yeah, it's a funny one. I mean, the last series was 8-8. I mean, it was close. Clearly, the teams can play cricket against each other.
Yeah, but they'd come back from 8-0 down, and then there was Nats over Brunt just had a ridiculous series.
Yeah.
So that's why I quite enjoyed this. I mean, it was ridiculous looking back that England went 2-0, 4-0, 6-0, and I was like, oh, we did this last time, so it's fine. It's like, no, this is going one way. And where are we now? 12-0? With the prospect of a 16-0 on the cards. Well, at least it's a good narrative for the pink ball test. At first, it was like, oh, let's make sure that the series is still alive. And then about halfway through the series, it's like, nah, let's make sure that we can go there knowing that we have a chance of winning outright in a whitewash. That's what I'd be selling it as.
Yeah.
Sell out the MCG because we're going to beat the Poms full stop.
Yeah.
Whereas England, I don't know what they're going there for. As I say, I've got a chance if I keep on walking.
Do you think that's like, what do you make of the criticism of athleticism against raw cricket skills? Do you drop catches because you're not in shape?
Warney had a pretty good pair of hands, didn't he?
He did, again. Big old buckets there, yeah.
I guess you have those kind of freaks of nature. And I must say, I mean, Travis Head, since getting his little dad bod, seems to be doing all right. But
I mean, fitness is so loaded, isn't it? Fitness is a really loaded term. It just encapsulates so many different things. You can have a physique that is completely effective for the skills that you're trying to execute. You might have fitness levels that are where your VO2 max is great, or you lift well, or you have power specific to your sport. But you have someone who watches online who goes, "You don't suit my conditioned idea of what a physique should look like," and then that's before you even get to body image and everything. Fitness is a loaded subjective kind of idea, right?
it is, but also if you're executing your skills, then that's fine.
Yeah, like by definition, you're fit because you're winning and executing skills, right?
Right. And you look at someone like Beth Mooney. I mean, I don't know how many twos she ran in that T20. It's absolutely ridiculous. Ash Gardner. I don't think there's many people who are going to be pulling off that catch that she did. Elise Perry, what's she now, 45 or something, is still tumbling over in the field and looking like a Greek goddess. But looking like a Greek goddess, but acting like a supreme athlete that she is. And when the margins they are really good cricketers in England. Like, they're good at batting, they're good at bowling. They need to understand how to, think about when to run to the other end on occasion. Fine, but when the margins are those little things, it is the fielding, it is the fitness, and that is the difference between winning and losing. Then we are going to talk about it. And Australia look incredibly fit. And they are incredibly fit. It's not just about the look; it's how it translates on the pitch. So,
but why? It's not because of our sun.
Because you're running up and down from Bondi to Coogee, lads. I mean, come on, that's the way it is, right? No, it's because I think they understand. There's an understanding of how to approach women's sport and give actual feedback, and that's probably where we are at. Women's cricket, women's sport is still in the sort of nascent stages of professionalism. So, understanding how to deliver that feedback, but without damaging welfare, mental health, etc., they're still trying to work that out. And perhaps in Australia they've got it right, but it's also not exclusive to women's sport. I mean, the amount of times I've seen Rohit Sharma being called a chipmunk, right? And the criticism that's levied upon the fitness of the men's team, it's not like it's just the woman that has this awful repertoire. Yes, probably there are more social media comments, but it's professional sport, right? It's great when it's going well. It's a bit shit when it's not. So work from there.
It's so loaded when you're talking about like a woman's weight. Like it's grim, like straight away. Even if it's like another woman talking about it, I find it immediately. Maybe that's just a social phenomenon as well, not just a professional sport thing. In fact, it probably is that. Like I would never comment on someone's weight from a women's cricket side perspective, but I might mention. Like Mark Cosgrove, for instance, in Australia had like Booney or Mark Higgs, or there were like
it's
these
quite comical way. It's part of the joke.
Yeah.
Or Warney.
Well, Warney as well. Yeah, I mean Warney didn't take it too well when he was criticised by a question for a journalist, was he, for that that figure that was made.
Madame Two Swords.
Madame Two Swords was that Madame Two Swords? Was it?
I think so.
It was. Yeah, well, it makes sense. How many wax statues are knocking about? Yeah. So it is loaded automatically, but. It might have also been an overreaction from the England side, if that was the case, how that transpired, as Alex Hartley said it did, just like, I criticised the team, then they just stopped speaking to me.
Well, and that's famously good criticism too, you're overreacting.
Yeah, settle down.
Also, how many male cricketers have just refused to take interviews? Like, again, that's not exclusive to the women's game.
Exactly, all the time, You
get grumpy people everywhere, frankly. I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, like, societal attitudes towards physique, etc. I mean, women are always trying to be as skinny as something, and men are trying to get built, right?
Right. I mean,
I've seen your guns. That's what you're constantly striving for. And I guess that's, if you're playing in a professional sport environment where actually, as a woman, you don't want to be that skinny ideal. You actually need to be an athlete. That comes in all shapes and sizes. But I look at sort of your Talia McGraths, Grace Harris, your Annabelle Sutherland, they are built figures now. They are strong. God, I don't want to be on the end of any cricket balls coming from their vicinity. But that, that's also a struggle, because if your Instagram is looking like, all these tiny sticks and bikinis is the ideal, whereas I think with men, it's the ideal is more of that bigger athlete, etc. So it's kind of and I think you go through that, therefore, as a woman, having that kind of existential crisis, being like, do I want to eat, exercise, do weights, etc., in order to be the best at that sport, or do I also want to be a human being that looks and feels good on a different metric? And I guess those two tensions aren't as prevalent in men's sport. But I don't know. I think sometimes we underestimate how often men have these issues as well.
Absolutely. Over
body image and disordered eating, etc. It's probably one of the biggest unspoken things, because I was talking to quite a few male friends recently about this whole area, and they were like, well, actually, I had this issue, but I didn't talk about it because you can't. So at least in a way, in women's sport, we actually do talk about it and try and think about how we're going to tackle it.
Well, you played at Middlesex, right? You're a Middlesex cricketer, and you mentioned earlier the difference or nascent level of the delivery of criticism as opposed to the criticism itself. Well, I mean, are you able to talk about what you observed there? Not necessarily for yourself, but what, or perhaps how the delivery of critiques or criticism could be better? Well,
that's the problem, is that it's not that it could be better, it's just that it's avoided entirely. whether it be about reaching fitness standards, whether it be about what's good for your welfare, mental well-being, etc. It just seems to not be broached at all. And it's not like this is exclusive to England. I mean, Meg Lanning took a big break from cricket for mental health reasons. I think Sophie Devine, we just heard in New Zealand, has taken a break as well. Like, it's all, it needs to be, rather than ignored, it needs to be at least considered in the first place. And I think that's probably part of the issue, is that we've now got that funding, investment, infrastructure, facilities, but actually that expertise and experience in understanding how to talk to women in their 20s or late teens going through professional sport, that's not really existed in the past. So it's all new horizons. It's all interesting issues to tackle. I just tell everyone what's wrong. I'd have to tell you how to do it.
Yeah. Is there something, can I ask, to catch us in this conversation, has the conversation about the gap between the Australian women's and English women's team during this Ashes become too insidiously focused on matters of fitness, which often are dog whistles for other things, as opposed to like the skills are just way better, or is it more holistic? Like, do you think there's too much fitness chat when discussing the gap?
I mean, the problem is that we've chatted a lot about the batting and the bowling and the fielding being better. It's like, let's find a new tack. I think it is holistic. I mean, that's probably the worst thing, is that you look at literally every facet, and I think one area that is starting to be talked about is game awareness as well.
Right.
Is rotating that strike, is understanding where to position yourself in the field, etc. The sort of build up, the preparation into a big series, that it seems to be a lot more mature from an Australian, and taking responsibility. I mean, a number of Australian captains that could be taken from any of the players in that current team is ludicrous. They could all probably skipper at the moment. They've all had a go at it. Whereas in England, you're like, well, I don't really know who else there is. So I think there's many facets, but maybe fitness and athleticism is the one that is lynched on. But it's definitely part of it.
Do you think Heather Knight's position's under threat following this as skipper?
Probably, well, I probably reckon she'll walk. She's like, I've had enough of this.
Yeah.
Rather than her being pushed, mainly because of the void of alternatives. Sure. I mean, Micahel Vaughan was on a BBC show earlier today, and he was just like, well, hang on a minute. Whenever I came over to Australia and got absolutely thrashed, there was a sort of national inquiry afterwards. So surely this should be happening. And maybe this is for the first time it actually will. I reckon John Lewis, I don't know, he needs to go, he might have a few more walks that he could do to spend some time after this. Yeah, it is under scrutiny, but I reckon that if it does come to it, it'll be, she will go before she is pushed. But I also think she's a really good captain.
Yeah.
She's good at what she does.
You can sometimes be really good even if you're not winning.
Yeah, it's just the tools. I can't remember which captain it was who said, I mean, the best captains are the one that had like Shane Warne in your team.
Yeah.
Who had the ridiculous players with them. I mean, it's pretty easy when you got Meg Lanning, Elise Perry and Lisa Healy. And, there you go.
Yeah.
Best captain in the world. Boom.
It is amazing, like, how, like, England play big series all the time, right? But, like, it seems to be like the pinnacle is still coming here to Australia, and like when the men, for instance, come here next year, like so much has been built around Stokes McCullum. That axis is being built towards what can they achieve in Australia, right?
Yeah,
which is perhaps unnecessary because they've achieved lots of things in the last couple of years, especially from where they were.
The men's game, I think it's ridiculous because like England, Australia is not the pinnacle. I mean, that's why the Border Gavaskar sort of narrative of it being bigger than the Ashes actually arose, because it's a bit like I could think about the Oxford-Cambridge boat race. Once upon a time, it was the best in the world, and now it's categorically not, because England come here and lose every time. So it's more of just sort of a historical thing. Whereas with the women's game, Australia and England are the best teams in the world.
Right.
So that is the standard. And so the standard that England will get judged by is going to be Ashes and ICC tournaments. And in both these metrics, Australia will wipe the floor. And when they don't, they go on some stupid winning streak afterwards for about 5 years. You know, the few times Australia have not won a T20 World Cup or an ODI World Cup, they kind of go, well, that's never going to happen again. And then for 5 years, don't lose a match. I mean, genuinely, England have not had the Ashes for, I think it is like 12, 13, I can't remember what it is. Most of our good times go back to 2009. There was a World Cup in 2017, but that's it.
Is this as bad as it's been for the women in Australia?
I think compared to the expectation
right.
and the reality, also they've never been whitewashed. We're not there yet, depending on when you're listening to this podcast, but we could be. So I think, there was definitely a narrative of these teams are both bouncing back from disappointments. They've both got strong domestic leagues. They play in each other's leagues. There's loads of English people over here for the WBBL as there is for the BBL. That was always the thing with the Ashes. It's like, avoid the Ashes, go and watch the BBL where all the England players are dominating. It just felt, it's true on those sort of on paper, they should be pretty close. And then for it to unfold as it has.
Yeah.
Well,
New Zealand's the best team in the world.
Well, obviously.
Yeah.
After having played a bilateral series against England in which they lost zip to whatever it was. Yeah. I mean, that was just funny. They went on a 10 game losing streak and then got to the World Cup and went, right.
Well, they played against Australia before, didn't they? And they got
so they lost,
thumped over here.
Yeah, thumped by England, thumped by Australia. They've knocked up at the World Cup.
Best team in the world.
That's the way to do it. Best team in the world.
Now, your situation now is like you were covering cricket full time, but also were a trained lawyer, right? Whereas now you cover cricket occasionally and are otherwise a lawyer more full time in places that can only sometimes be disclosed.
I've never covered cricket full time, and that's mainly because I want to keep my sanity. Yeah, there's only so many times you can come down and do this, and you're just like, oh my god, never again. Yeah. It's quite circular in nature. Yeah. No, I've never covered cricket full time, which is definitely the secret to any kind of vague success.
But it's less. You spend less time with it now than you used to, right? Because you're doing some other interesting contributory things.
Bugger off and then go and live in a sort of sand dune for a few months and then
you're a lawyer in sand dunes.
Pretty much.
Are you in Bondi?
Well, I mean, as I said, I'm on for the test match now. I run away.
Haydos at North Stratty. Sorry.
I run away. Go and do things which in many ways are similar to professional sport. I've decided that pilots in the Air Force are very similar to professional athletes.
Yes.
They get paid very well. They're very good at what they do. They're dickheads most of the time. Insular, very focused, probably slightly on the spectrum as well. And then you have to go and tell them how well they've been doing. And they bloody love it, and it's a bit irritating. But very good at what they do, and we love them for it. So...
so you get into uniform to be a lawyer for pilots and Air Force people in sand dunes. That's about the max basically, you can say. You get told where you're going occasionally.
It's pretty much like don't do illegal shit, which is a good message for life.
Interesting.
And good for the military.
Yeah.
And then you do that for a few months, and then you get a bit of time off. And
it would don't want to get too indulgent in a media sense with it, but there wouldn't be that many people, I think, who have the skills to actually flick between both, and it will probably give you a perspective on cricket outside of their prevailing groupthink of different media cohorts, right?
It's great, but that's I think also why everyone gets so upset about it when England do so badly here, because the whole reason of sport is so that we can get away from our shitty lives, where it's -5 and dark and grey, and there's a cost of living crisis, and life is pretty awful. I want to go and see you dominating the Aussies in the sunshine down Bondi Beach, and I want it to be good. And so when you don't have that escape and actually it's capitulating around you and you're just like, well, then it's not great, then, what's the point?
Yes.
It's like going through COVID, sport was both was absolutely the least important thing in the world, but simultaneously the most important thing. And I think that's probably where the grey cricketer puts it in some ways, what the hell is this? Who gives 2p for what's going on here? But actually, being able to tune in after a crappy day at the office or whatever the hell you're doing is so important for us also. One doesn't exist without the other. I need to get away from cricket because it will drive me up the wall, especially being an England fan down under. But equally, if I didn't have it, then be pretty upset about that as well.
It's a real shame they voided the Ashes during COVID, didn't they? Which was a shame because I think the people needed it. But they voided that series. It was a shame. He's good, isn't he, Brody?
Brody's very good.
Isn't he good?
And he knows what he's doing.
He's clever. He's clever about it, isn't he?
He'll probably be on the broadcast team next summer, won't
Good.
he?
Yeah, that's good.
He'll be good.
I'd love if Fox maybe got a Warner and a Brody, and I can see it matching up already. That's going to be glorious.
Is it?
Oh yeah. Oh, come on, we've got to get something out of this. It's a one-way traffic everywhere else.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that
good
is
point.
true.
Yeah.
Do you take a view then, or care much about all of the other cricket, which is most of what happens with just T20 franchise cricket, and particularly as it relates to what's happening in England, the sale of 100 franchises?
Yeah.
Does that interest you from a sports law perspective, and
So
foreign owners buying into, will someone plant their flag at Lords, a non-English
I used
flag?
to think that this is great. I was training as a lawyer. I love sport. I'm going to be a sports lawyer. And
I like sports. Yeah,
I like sports. Exactly.
Sports.
And I went, I think, shadowed somebody who's working in the industry, and I realised that it's all just awful contractual crossing of T's and dotting of I's, incredibly boring, with over-entitled Premier League players, essentially, is what the whole sports law thing is. The really fun bit is the kind of the match fixing and the anti-doping side of it.
Oh, you won't get that in cricket.
There's no money in that either, so no point in doing that. No, I don't really care. Another reason why to dip one's toe in and out of cricket is I only want to cover the fun stuff.
Yeah, so you can be like if you're a test match person, you can be like a test match only kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I say the fun stuff, but it's basically England capitulating in Australia. So take from that what you want. A masochist. That's what I'm here. I'm here just to take it really.
Looks like it's moving pretty quickly. Like who's going to own counties? Like is Zuckerberg going to own Essex?
I mean, that's the market, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like it's...
Might as well. I think because the Americans have gone into football and realised that everybody hates them.
Yes.
So the natural segue is into cricket.
Well, I wonder if they're like, given the fact of the ECB selling 49% of franchises for the 100...
calculated, isn't it?
And allowing the counties to decide the other 51%, the fact of non-Indian interest may... interestingly, potentially break up the evolving monopoly of Indian franchises of almost the entire cricket calendar. I mean, if a couple of these 100 franchises are owned by companies that are not IPL aligned, it will probably be the first time that IPL franchises have ever been outbid or not able to control the schedule of some of these
well, surely
tournaments.
At some point we're just waiting for Live to come into cricket, right?
Yeah.
The sort of the Saudi Arabian investment fund. Oh, wow.
I'd imagine there's some legal work in that.
Absolutely. And I mean, well, there's a reason the ICC is out in the UAE, isn't it, as well?
Before we started doing this job, like just as a person that watched cricket occasionally, like I would have absolutely zero interest in the mechanics behind like governance and who ran which board, who was the CEO, who's buying what. And like it is a factor because like we're in it so much and you read about it all the time. But like the importance of what is happening there is actually so profound because the game is moving so quickly, and also the game is the game, and also we move.
Thank you.
But like it's actually changing what I would have seen, like, because how it manifests is like when the games are being played, what style of games being played, what the name of the teams are, who the players are.
When
like,
the games are being
when
played.
the games are being
the main
played.
cricket in England is now the 100, right? That's the main season.
Do you know what? That's actually part of the reason why I asked the question before about, like, do you feel like it was a big summer? Because increasingly the game is being taken away from Australian eyeballs. No, the game is not about the Australian audience, but it is here, right? It is for us as fans. So, like, there are so few games at watchable hours, except for maybe, like, the first session of the Ashes in England and the Big Bash final last night when we're commentating.
Good as you are, Australia's quite a small country population.
Insignificant.
What are you talking about?
Shut the fuck up and stay in your lane.
Yeah. There are other countries.
It's a bit like when there was that whole media fury around, I think, was it Kohli got accosted at the airport, and there were some very upset Australian journalists that he wasn't taking them seriously. And it was like, I don't think he really cares. And I don't think anybody in India really cares.
It doesn't
either,
matter, of course.
Because it's a drop in the ocean.
Of course.
And we're playing a numbers game now, boys. You know that.
No, of course. Of course. Well, just look at the view count if India wins compared to, if
basically we just need India to dominate world cricket.
That's what we're saying, yeah.
Well, I mean, when we went to India to cover the BGT in 2023, anecdotally, the large majority of people we met asked why we had chosen to come for the tests and not the IPL, which was starting a few months later. And if you accept India as the locus and determiner of all of cricket's economy and its direction, doesn't it follow that one should be across what's happening in the T20 franchise world?
I think I found a gap in the market. If we're talking the numbers game, China.
Oh, big
I played against the Chinese national team once.
Let's talk about that.
It was extraordinary.
You're trying to talk seriously with Izzy. Like, let's talk about when I played against China. Who for? Was this for the Dutch?
Yeah.
No, I was playing for my local cricket club, and I think it was a China. I don't know why on earth.
What's your local club's name?
It was Bath Cricket Club.
Bath
beautiful ground.
Yes, I bet.
Bath v China.
So the people at Bath got together and said, "Let's bring the Chinese over."
Gap in the market. Gap in the market. And a bit like the way in which we think that there's the spirit of cricket and there's a way in which the game should be played. So standing there in the field, I was batting, and they would not shut up. When you bowl a ball, you're supposed to be quiet.
They chatty, the Chinese.
The whole way through.
Yeah.
So people would, if I was Marnus Labuschagne, right, and someone's chatting, I'm putting it away.
Yeah.
I'm not playing, be quiet and let the...
Surely you did that, though, and taught them a lesson.
I know who the next world power is, so I was just like, no, carry on.
So that's interesting. So China's interpretation of the game, they learned, it's like, we're chatting during the delivery.
Well, I actually think the Chinese interpretation of the game was...
Yeah.
Is there anything in the rules that forbids this? No. Then therefore I need to do it.
So it was a soft power play as
Definitely there was a point as well where at some point it ricocheted off someone's bat and you're like, obviously you don't run unless you're Ben Stokes.
Yes.
But no, they were running.
Really?
All the way through,
interesting.
Yeah.
What was tea like?
The tut-tutting from the Bath.
That was tea. We were hosting.
Of course, yeah. He didn't get to do the away leg.
No, that would have been good fun.
So how'd you go, by the way?
I think we must have won. I think I got a few. Maybe.
Yeah.
Nascent stages of the development of Chinese cricket. But
well, what about Izzy Westbury's cricket? I'm asking, did you turn up?
Hey, my cricket pinnacle came when I was playing for Paran. And I...
Now, hang on. There's a subtle insult to that.
Yeah.
Instead of saying Paran, as it said here, you've actually put a Southern American accent on it.
I keep on getting told that I'm saying it wrong when I say Paran.
You want to say prime, yeah.
Prime.
It is how one reads it first time. I had the same experience.
I was getting to what I thought was sort of the peak of my game, and then Annabelle Sutherland, who at the time was 14... rocks up and I didn't know what she did, scored a half century and took a few wickets and I'm done. Alana King was just about making her way then as well, and now she's the world's best bowler, best spinner. Did she play at Paran as well? Yeah, she
Alana
did.
King?
That was her big move from Dandenong over to, she needed the coaching, Bryce McGain, bit of infrastructure there.
I see.
Yeah.
So we got all the big players coming in at their kind of their early stages of their cricketing development, but the problem was, in their early stages, I was like, oh dear, it's all downhill from here. Very sobering when you realise that. I mean, you never really realise that. You always think you're going to play for your country, don't you? You still think aged 40 something, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
I played a game for China once against Bath for the women, and we lost that day.
Yeah.
Someone turned up against us.
I mean, there is a concept in Australia, particularly in grade cricket, where there's a belief that if you play higher level grade cricket, you could probably play county cricket. So you played for Middlesex and Paran. You can tell us straight up how do those levels compare?
Well, every other game I was hit onto some tin roof by Meg Lanning, so...
But you played against Meg Lanning, though.
I did play against Meg Lanning. And spinners come here to die, right? Unless you're Alana King and Georgia Wareham. But apart from that, it didn't go well.
Yeah. Meg Lanning good, I suppose. She was good.
Oh, but she's genetically superior, so it's fine.
Well.
That's right.
Also born in Sydney, so must have done a few Bondi to Coogees.
Same area as Elise Perry.
Yeah.
Northern suburbs of Sydney.
Which is where that walk is. maybe
also
he's
where
onto
these
something.
podcasters are from as well. So,
so-
put 2 and 2 together.
Healy, Perry,
Yep.
both Perrys,
Yep.
Lanning, all from the eastern suburbs.
Well,
Northern.
Christ, maybe he was onto something.
Northern suburbs.
Yeah,
Everyone in the top of the game.
Yeah.
yeah. Pat Cummins down there as well.
Cummins, Blue Mountains.
Blue Mountains, sort of
Blue
country.
I mean, he's there now.
Yeah, but he's in
Yeah.
Bronx.
He wants to bring up his kid
eastern
to
suburbs now.
make
Yeah,
sure that
yeah.
that's what's happening.
Cummins' kid, Jesus. Now there are some genetics.
Whew.
Christ.
I don't think you have to say anything else, really.
No, yeah. Just start barking. Woof.
That his kid. He's about to have a second kid.
Fuck! You've done me.
His unborn child now as well.
Oh, Jesus. Woof.
I was keen. Do you guys talk about this stuff on Triple M?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I
Ferg?
actually, you know, you Australians, you like your lines and things.
Oh,
Whoa, okay. Well,
Not in the current economy.
I haven't found
did
the
you know?
line. Well, who knows? I don't think he has a line. I haven't found the line.
doesn't?
Yeah.
I haven't found the line in Triple M commentary.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
Where have you got it right and wrong?
Well, I think pretty much every expletive under the sun is there. Maybe not quite a see you next Tuesday, but
Yes.
Can you swear on Triple M?
that might be the line. Yeah. I mean, so
Can you get
something
an
will
F word
happen.
in? We don't swear on
JB
this.
was talking about having a stiffy on air.
A stiffy.
I mean, now, stiffy.
The
problem,
Yeah.
very
an
Australian.
adult can't say stiffy with unironically.
Well,
I've got a stiffy.
That's why he's the best. That's why
I mean,
he's
he
the
was
best.
talking about watching Daspit Bumrah come into bowl, so, you know, each their own.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what was the line? I've got a stiffy.
Yeah.
It is.
It was pretty
it's
much
a great.
about
It's a
that.
great word, I think. Like, but it
And
didn't.
that wasn't the line. That wasn't the line. So that's not the line.
No, that's
Were
right.
you on air with him?
I was not on air
No.
with him. I'm still the kind of person where they go, "Oh, sorry, Izzy." Turn around
yeah,
and
yeah.
The foil is
apologise.
good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm still yet. I mean, well, maybe we have found it, but
I was wondering if you weren't sure where the line was because you might have overstepped it by
Yeah.
several rungs, which I think would be.
well, normally because
Fantastic.
even things get picked up on the stump mic. If I was back on the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation, you'd sort of have to go and apologise to the listener for things that you haven't said, but they may have heard.
Well,
we had an
people-
experience of that.
Yeah, people complained when we did some stuff for the BBC in the men's Ashes in 2023.
Christ, how did they let you anywhere near it?
Oh, okay.
Well-
Sorry. All right. Not all Oxford, Cambridge boat races. Don't worry about that.
Sorry, it's not the fucking boat race, is
for
it?
your brand as much as anything else, obviously.
And it's not anything we said on the BBC, but it was something that we had said on our own channels that had offended some listeners of
But because of the BBC's strict policies, the person we were dealing with, who was a wonderful like advocate of ours and just outstanding to work with,
Yes.
said to us like, I am obliged to read you this complaint according to BBC policy. So I'm going to do that and then read out the complaint.
Well, my introduction to Triple M is when you come over to Australia, you have to do I think it's anti-corruption and compliance training.
Right.
And I was sort of sat in this room at Triple M's HQ where you've got to watch this video and this is what you can and can't do. And about halfway through, I realised that every single example of indiscretion was Triple M. And I said, is it tailored? No, this is the national Australian one.
Just examples.
Just examples. And they just happen to all come from the same place.
Yeah.
So,
It looks like a fun crew, to be fair.
I've never had so much fun with clothes on, and it's legal, frankly. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Ferg's great guy. Bluey. JB's stiffies are out of this world.
Yep.
I wouldn't know.
Merv's a nice guy. Annoying, but nice.
Yeah, he tried to offload the tag of being the greatest pest in Australia to poor old Constas. I thought it was a bit harsh, but maybe Barry Ronay.
Barry
Ronay, yeah.
He's a king.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess
that's it.
That was a good frolic, I felt, and it's been good to do this in studio. You've been a storied guest on TGC.
Yeah.
I feel quite privileged to have been there back in the day when you were Twitter account and possibly a book by that stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe 2. But
Now
yeah.
you're sort of something in the ether.
A couple of best-selling books, yeah.
Yeah.
2 bestsellers.
Just 2, yeah.
Too far.
Thanks for coming in. This has been fun.
It's great to have you in studio.
Pleasure. It is. Almost as much fun as Triple M.
Yeah, see, that's going to stick in the core a little bit.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
You've got something to aspire to.
Our audience is 10x.
Yeah, I don't think, it's
not close, so, yeah.
We used to think it all laddered up.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, then you get to the ladder and you're just like, oh, Christ.
we used to think that. Anyway.
Well, people will appreciate that.
BCCI is next. Administrative
We've got our
positions.
own relationship with the BCCI.
Don't worry about that.
And don't worry about that. Just stay out of it. They're aware of us. We're aware of them.
Stay out of it.
Stay out of it.
Just stay out of it. You guys have meddled
woof.
enough. And if in doubt, just bark.
I like that tactic.
Yeah.
This is sort of, we're actually winding ourselves down. We're muting ourselves. So
this is a fade out.
thank you very much for coming into the studio. Thanks, in all sincerity. And thank you for the conversation and the wonderful meandering frolic we've had that went from T20 franchise cricket to Bath versus China.
I think we wandered off the boardwalk, haven't we, there? Bondi, Coogee, Manly. Maybe we've gone a bit astray.
Has anyone requested you say Coogee, as it should be said, or do you...
No, it's only the Coogee, isn't it? And that's what Michael Vaughan goes with, so...
You're going
Coogee.
Yeah.
Vaughany for linguistics of Australian
Coogee.
Suburbs. Coogee.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. I'll give you that. It doesn't make sense. It does read as Coogee, but it's Coogee.
Well, it's almost as bad as Marylebone. So.
Good point.
There you go.
Good point.
Nice. Izzy Westbury, thank you.
Pleasure.
Thanks very much to Izzy for joining us in studio in the couch. Charlie, might as well hit it, mate.
Fuck me, it's hot out here. Yeah, boys, hang on. Mid-December, Saturday afternoon. Sweat dripping down me crack. All an ass cross a patchy paddock while Macca flings pies down the track. Now the day is done and the game is won. There's only one more thing to do. Let's bring it in, grab the biggest bin you've ever seen and whack it with a stump or two.
Give me 6 points, give me a cold beer, give me a 6 points pail and a song. I've never hugged so many sweaty men while I sing my favourite song. Give me a 6 points, give me a cold beer, give me a 6 points pail and a song. Was me dad there today? Doesn't matter anyway. I've got a 6 points pail. I've got a 6 points pail and a song.
Right, well, off the back of an incredible launch last week, we sold the entire stock out in less than 2 hours, Pezza. And it was a limited time, it was limited stock, and indeed it was so limited it barely got through the release of this podcast but from last week. So thank you to everyone that bought the couple hundred cases that were available of 6 points pale. They ran out the door, certainly. So what's happened is we've spoken to the brewer of the company, and they're going to put on another pallet of 6 points pale. Now, it won't be available for 3 weeks, but such was the demand last week that half of that pre-order has already gone. So, if you can wait 3 weeks and you want to get in, you didn't get in last time, or maybe having a sip of it, because I know the people that did order, they've already received their case. So if you like it, if you want to get in again, you're going to do it right now because it's going to go again. It's going to be a little while before we do this again. But thank you so much for the response to this. Obviously, we had a great time, putting the song together and, everything around it. And Chuck made a great social clip as well. So that was awesome. But 6 points pale, if you want to get around it, it's going to go today. Such as the demand. So there's a link in the description. It's actually on our socials, on our link tree on Instagram. If you want to go there, it's the top thing there. It's 6 points pale. It's also powdermonkeybrewing.com.au. You can find it there if you want to. But it'll be in the link in the description of the video and the audio of this podcast as well. So you can find it, or you can just type in 6 points pale. That's it.
Yeah, no, well said. Well said. That song is a grower, by the way. Shout out to Toby Shane.
I haven't heard of it since the weekend, but it just has not left the brain.
Absolutely. That is musical composition.
Just before we get into the Big Bash, shout out to Budgy. So we've been doing the Budgy themed, the TGC themed Budgy Smugglers in 2 designs. The Navy, there's very limited stock available for the Navy. The Sky Blue is still available in all sizes, though limited stock there as well in those sizes. So all sizes available in the Sky Blue. And the Navy, there is very limited stock left. So it's budgysmuggler.com.au. You can find the Grey Cricketer. It's a limited time, limited stock. The T-shirts that we were selling, they've already gone, of course. So in the last couple of weeks before we stopped this run, because the podcast will be going until the end of the Sri Lanka tour for the men's. So there's only about 2 or 3 podcasts left. So only a couple of weeks left. And let me tell you, it's going to be fucking hot in Melbourne next week, Pez. I'm not sure you've seen the forecast, but a couple of days nudging 40. So, if it's hot here, that will mean that it's hot everywhere because it's often cold here. And that's how climate change works. Budgysmuggler.com.au. Thanks to Budgy for getting behind us. The Big Bash League, Pezza, was on last night. Right. The final was last night. And the Hobart Hurricanes chased down the Sydney Thunders 182. They chased that in 14 overs with 7 wickets in hand. The Thunder were none for 97 after 10. Their second 10 overs restricted to 7 for 85. Nathan Ellis, 3 for 23. Possibly the best player in the league. Riley Meredith, 3 for 27 as well. Now, Ricky Ponting on Mitch Owen, the opening batter for the Hobart Hurricanes. That innings is going to go down as one of the all-time great BBL innings. It was 11 sixes. It was 6 fours. He batted for 45 minutes. His 100 came in 39 balls. It's the equal fastest ever. There's only ever been 10 BBL 100s scored in 50 balls or less. 39 balls for Mitch Owen last night. His opening stand of 109 with Caleb Jewell came in 7.2 overs. Jewell was out for 13 off 12. The crowd were clapping when Jewell got off strike. The crowd were chanting, Mitchell Owen, baseball styles. Here's what he said after the game. To be here and hear them chanting my name, it hasn't quite sunk in, but it's amazing and I'm so grateful for it. All I wanted to do was lift that trophy. I was actually disappointed to get out. Of course, when's cricket good? I wanted to be able to hit the winning runs and get us home a little bit easier, so I didn't have to sit there a bit nervous, but it's super special. It's a childhood dream, and I'm so grateful. Pezza, we were obviously doing alternate comms for 7+ last night, and that was, by a distance, the greatest innings in Big Bash history I've ever seen.
Well, that could mean a few things.
But it was amazing. It was amazing, clinical, power hitting, a lot of leg side play, but he opened himself up through the offside as well. And it was magic. It was magic from a guy that was, it's more than a breakout year. I mean, it was extraordinary what was happening.
Yeah, I think like a few points to make. Firstly, it's Hurricanes. It's their first ever title down there in Hobart. It's good to have a new aesthetic around the winner, I have to say.
Yeah.
I think we all enjoy something novel like that. I think like the classicism of a grade cricketer made good. I mean, this guy is pro as fuck, but
yeah, he's played for Tasmania for 2 years, but yeah.
Is also great. You know, it was shades of Craig Simmons insofar as the lower profile, the 39 ball 100, equal fastest ever.
Yes.
And the fact that he, to the untrained eye, he's whacking it around like a parky who's come off 40 beers the night before.
Yeah.
We know that it's not, just to show respect to the man. I mean,
12 first-class games, 15 list A games.
6'5", 100 kilograms, batted 7 or 8 last year, and they said, "Do you want to have a crack opening?" He said, "Okay," and hasn't looked back. He saved his best till last. It was it was a clinic of arc hitting, and I think it raises a few questions, really. And we were suggesting this on Alt Comms last night. Because I tell you what, the Thunder's power play was nothing to be sneezed at or sniffed at.
No.
Sure, if you ever were. But, like David Warner and Jason Sanger's opening stand, left one with the feeling that, like, the Thunder had come here to play. Like, the Thunder had come to spoil the party. There was, Warner was busy and dynamic.
Yep.
Jason Sanger was playing proper cricket shots, but with authority. Riley Meredith, hitherto had destroyed everybody with wheels that we hadn't yet seen from him. Was rendered fairly ineffective in his opening spell, and the Thunder were a pre-Kalawitharana none for 90 off 10. How dignified. We thought that what a great foundation, before the Hurricanes got themselves back into it. 6'5", 100 kegs comes in off 10 pints. He's 100 off 40 rocks, it's game over. I'm just wondering if there's any room for anybody in cricket anymore who isn't just fucking massive.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Which again, I caveat. The skill is off the charts.
Yeah.
If it was easy to do, everybody would do it, but nobody could. It's just to the eye, and I'll put myself in an untrained category here as well. He just good cricket smarts. He knew when to give himself room, when to go inside. He's moving across the crease a little bit, but really it's just give these levers some room and see you later. That's it. So, and I just think what a dream it must have been for him. That is living some kind of dream.
Totally.
It is the local boy made good, opening the batting and delivering the first title to his state. And let's face it, at least for us New South Welsh people, Tassie has always been an underdog state.
Yeah.
You want them to do well. We don't have the same quid pro quo rivalry around AFL that other states around it do. I was raised in a household to always enjoy and support Tasmanian cricket, and so it was. It warms the heart to see a win for Tasmania and for the local boy to just come and bomb everybody onto the fucking hill to bring it home was pretty hot shit, I got to say.
In the press conference afterwards, he just yelled, "Cleveland, this is for you," which was a touching tribute to his time with LeBron James.
I got a question for you. At the time when we were in the combox. We're also in Fox's combox, apparently.
Yeah, we were everywhere last night.
Everyone keeps saying we're everywhere. I didn't realize that's what they meant. Somehow Seven managed to infiltrate Howie and Gillian Jr. commentating. Anyway, but I was sort of the view that this is just a guy who's had a day out, nothing you can do kind of stuff. And you're just standing like a pawn in chess on the field. Yeah. Just going, well, see you later, nothing you can do.
Oh well.
But I have seen suggestions that the Sydney Thunder bowled a shower of shit to him. Did they bowl shit and he capitalised, or did he make them bowl a shower of shit? Were they rendered a shower of shit?
I don't think I've ever played a game where I've thought that the batter is so good that there's nothing you can do about it. But that's also because I played fourth grade.
I mean, imagine if they did. Imagine if he hit 100 off 40 and they were bowling 160 Ks, top of off, perfect Yorkers or whatever. Nothing we could do.
And the deviation map was extraordinary.
Right,
it was how is he doing it?
Swinging 4 metres.
Yeah, I mean, the first ball was an 8 metre leg side wide down the leg side. So there was that tone being set. But, but first of all, it was, and this is about us as well, but it was great fun doing the alternate commentary for Seven, right?
Yes.
Look, when Mitch Owen scored the 100, we made some comments, citing his history with surf lifesaving and beach culture.
Well, you nailed it.
Touch footy, and look, that's been picked up in certain circles.
It seems to have. Or we're back on England stuff now as well.
Well, I suppose so.
They must be there.
Yeah,
you were essentially saying that he's made these runs because of superior athleticism.
What happens?
Echoing the England coach's wonderful insights.
Completely agree with you.
And I see it has been picked up. Henry Moran, from the BBC, wonderful commentator with them. Just put it out on Twitter, and I did see that Kieran Brown wrote back. Kieran Brown. In his bio says Liverpool a 1966 Batman TV series fan. He says, and that's why Australia will never be a republic. They are so crap at banter, it's unreal. To which Marshall Mateus, we should never read the comments, but Marshall Mateus here goes into bat for the boys and Australia, says, banter is a shithouse English word anyway. I'd say milquetoast comment. To which Kieran replies, you only exist as a country because of us. You're welcome, by the way. I think that's good.
Kieran goes bang.
I think that's good. I mean, that's the thing you always have to say about Australia and England. They do out for us. Do it become a republic. That's true.
That's true.
That's true.
Well played, Kieran.
It sucks, yeah.
And well played, Mitch Owen. It was extraordinary. I saw
Hurricanes good all year, by the way. Best team all year.
Best team.
Apart from getting skittled for 74 at the Cattery.
Mate, it was also pretty exciting to see. I don't think I've ever seen a crowd like that at Bell Reeve or Ninja Stadium, as it's called now, of course, or Blundstone, as it was previously.
Thank you.
Is that the same one, he goes? It was awesome just to see. That's a great thing about the Big Bash, right? It gets so many more people involved in cricket who otherwise wouldn't be involved in cricket. I mean, I'm not sure. There was 13,000 for the semi-final there, or what it was called, the eliminator. No, the qualifier. And there was way more there last night. It was packed, and it was just purple everywhere. It was electric, and then Mitch Owen puts on one of the great performances in Big Bash history. That's just like it's a gateway to bigger things for cricket, right? And that's what T20 cricket can do. Like we've maintained that, like, you know, it's not the thing that satiates us the most, the T20 format, as opposed to others, but it is a thing to get more people involved in cricket, and there's no question about what he did last night and what that game and what that league does in Australia. It's awesome.
Do you want to see him in and around various squads? Would you like to see him?
Fucking settle down to Big Bash.
Well, I mean, I'm just looking at this headline here in the SMH. IPL riches and KFC eating contests. Mitch Owen's future after a 39-ball BBL 100. He would have liked to start.
But I also did enjoy Tim David on ABC News Breakfast this morning, completely fuck-eyed, when he said, I don't know what time it is. We did watch the sun come up, though. He was holding the Big Bash trophy. He said there was his teammates were dancing behind the camera. I mean, that is an incredible effort to have not gone to bed and do national television at 8 in the morning. Great effort.
I think that's right. I'm glad they did do that. That's making the most of it. Wadey's got a picture of the trophy overlooking the Derwent as well.
Yeah.
Standing there in his kit.
Yeah, little fire going.
I heard on the radio they went back to Wadey's house.
Yeah,
so it was obviously thank the fans, celebrate with the fans.
Yep.
Couple some celebrations in the sheds. And then I heard it was Wadey's house.
Oh, hell yeah.
I think Darren Lehman said, I'm sure Wadey's got a mansion somewhere.
Tim David would be a multi-millionaire. Anyway,
he had a good comp. TD.
He did. Let's talk about the least important thing, and that's Sri Lanka against Australia. Well, let's talk about the Australian men's side, right?
Okay.
Now, Micahel Clarke was inducted into the Hall of Fame in the past few days. Here are his numbers: 115 Test matches, 8,643 runs at 49, 245 ODIs, 7,981 runs at 44 in ODIs, 188 first-class matches, 13,826 runs at 47 in first-class cricket. Now, from Patreon, Mayor in the Drink said this: with Micahel Clarke being inducted into the Australian Cricket Hall of Fame last week, I again ponder, what is a Hall of Fame? Where is said hall located? Bradman's house? What does any of this actually mean? If you're a good cricketer, why do you have to be inducted into an imaginary hall in order to solidify your greatness? Well, that's a bit harsh. People love a Hall of Fame. It's a conversation you have. It's just blokes saying names around a table.
Well, the reason you do it is because you are, being serious, is because you're honouring the contributions of people to, in a way that develops tradition and custodianship and love and care for that thing. It's a way of saying we honour you and how you've made us feel.
Doffing caps.
You can really go the other way with that. Like my cricket club, North Sydney, has literally no memorabilia of Don Bradman playing for it. And I love North Sydney. I love the Bears, and they're getting it together. Right? They are getting it together. Good luck to the Bears. But when that happens, you're like, wow, I am at a club where like you could go and have an afternoon tea and see something, like see some history of Don Bradman being there, but it doesn't exist. No. Right, so you've got to honour history. I just want to say, Micahel Clarke, it's not a moment too soon. He absolutely should be in the Hall of Fame. It's barely like the only news about it for me is that it's taken this long. I don't know if it's meant to observe some period of
I don't know.
reflection or something.
Don't know.
The numbers and the capability and the excellence of his play is without dispute. He's one of Australia's finest ever cricketers.
Agreed.
Easily. And matters of personality, I don't think for him ever rose to a level where you have to consider his involvement in these things. I did like the way Gideon said it on Cricket Our Towel. Shout out Cricket Our Towel. I just have it here. He said, Micahel Clarke was harnessed to a personality of limited appeal.
That's fucking done me. That is absolutely fucking done me. Fucking hell, that is so hard.
I know a few people. I thought it's quite kind. I thought it was quite kind. My point is that he's got him. My point is like, if you want to broach the topic, you know, I don't think, as I said, like I don't think there was any. He was involved in any matter that would have caused like any material debate about his inclusion among these people.
Yeah,
I mean, he is in the lineage of generational batters that continued on kind of post Bradman, you know, for his. I know a few people who are harnessed to personalities of limited appeal. But I thought it was a kind way of saying it, you know. But a funny way. So yeah, I mean, fuck. It has to be. We're acknowledging Micahel Clarke.
Yeah,
what a fucking player.
One of the best to ever play for the country.
Great touch. Yep. He was a classicist as a batter. Yep. Light on his feet. Great down the ground. Great off the back stool.
Yep.
You know. Interestingly, like if there was a knock against him, I suppose from a cricketing perspective, you know, there was that often spoken about nosebleeds of batting higher up the order. I'm not particularly interested in that.
Batted 5, didn't he? A lot of 5 stuff.
And probably with good reason. I think this is again Cricket Our Towel pod, but he like averaged 60 at 5 and 20 at 4. So you know, he was like, okay, something like that. So. You know, he, the possessor of one of the some of Australia's great innings. During the period he was around, but I suppose the other thing is that he captained the side, stewarded the side in an in between period of excellence, right? You know, like
won a World Cup, won a home World Cup. That counts for a lot. There was also there was a 329 against India at the SCG.
Yeah.
But he's
not my favourite.
His greatest innings is the one at South Africa, right? Against the best attack that South Africa's probably ever had, which is saying things because they've had great attacks always. Was that Port Elizabeth? I'm not committed to where it was, but it was like 100.
There was two great hundreds in South Africa.
It was in the same series, wasn't it?
I don't think so. I think he but I mixed them up.
Yeah, okay.
There was one where Mornay just kept pumping him in the shoulder. With cricket balls, and odd image.
Yeah.
And that I think that innings, it was like the combined scores of both other teams still didn't reach what Clarke did. Or something.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, they're always the mark of great innings for me is less like the pure aggregate and more like in what circumstances you do it and what everybody else achieved in that time. I mean, a hell of a player. You know, a great captain tactically on the field, a great captain of spin as well. And really well deserving of his place.
So the Sri Lanka series for the bloke starts tomorrow, Wednesday, which is just a fucking great time to watch cricket for Australia. It starts at 3:30 in the afternoon. It goes right the way before you go to bed. We'll be doing the dailies, which is brought to you by Smith Optics. We're so pumped that Smith has got behind us this summer and supporting the dailies for that test series. Only 2 test series and 1 ODI. We're not going to do the ODI because no one gives a fuck. But the 2 tests people care about. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be exciting. Love watching cricket in Sri Lanka. It's a different challenge. You know, they're up to the old tricks again, though, Pezza.
Well,
stitches up with the decks.
I mean,
fuck.
Saw some grainy footage of I think Channel 7 revealing the decks and a couple of pictures as well. And you know, I know for me, I just looked at it and went, oh, well. Okay,
here we go again.
A couple of days out from day one, I see the colour of the deck, and well.
What are they like?
Once again, here we go.
Typical.
Well, it's going to be interesting, isn't it? So, you know, that's my preview. I see, you know, Australia's left arm tweaker Matt Kuhneman has has declared himself pain-free.
Pain-free.
Despite suffering a compound dislocation and fracture to the thumb of his non-bowling hand.
Yeah.
I also noted that while doing surgery, Kuhneman's been researching Rangana Herath on YouTube. Just getting a bit of video work in there as well.
Now, there's a guy with his record is unbelievable. It's like over 400 test wickets, Herath.
Yeah.
It's over 400. It might be more than that.
Yeah. If you're asked to name the top 20 test wicket takers ever, he's the one you're going to miss.
Exactly.
Basically.
He's top 10, I think.
He's 12th.
Is he 12th?
Yeah.
Damn it. You're right. I'm wrong and dumb.
I noticed that, is Gaul, I guess the question is, is it going to be a Viper's den? He goes, there's a little Viper's den at Gaul.
Spitting cobras, you mean?
Is he going to spit from ball one, or is he going to be good batting early on and spin a little bit later? You need to watch that one on YouTube, I think.
I'll be watching Mitch Owen highlights.
Well,
him on the circuit.
I said, okay. Very interesting.
It's bullshit. I hate it when they do that.
A couple of questions of the batting. I just want to get your view on it.
Okay.
Firstly, Khawaja said he's going to go when it's time. He says,
that's good news.
He says Ash is bare minimum.
That's good. Yeah, bare min.
He also, I think, qualifies by he appreciates it. It's not really up to him, but he's I guess it's cards on the table. Cards on the table.
I don't know. Like if you've got a guy who wants to open the batting and you say like, I'll play to the Ashes, that's fine. Lock in.
He said it, hasn't he?
No problems.
Ashes at a bare minimum. He just says if the body's feeling good, if the rig's up to it and I'm scoring runs, play on. I mean, that's fair enough, I guess.
Yep.
But he says he'll go when it's time. It's the Constas head question. It's the Constas question as ever. So I think basically since India, where Travis Head was initially dropped, then brought in to open because Warner was injured and did quite well, averaged 47 or some shit.
Yes.
The plan's always been, okay, well, Head is our opener in the subcontinental conditions, in Asian conditions, South Asian conditions, if you will. And
in Asia, it's all one country.
Yes, but now things change. Sam Constas scored 60 at the MCG, facing pace bowling.
Yeah.
And he may now open. No, I mean it does change. It's more than that. That's glib. He's young. Is it games into Constas stuff? Does playing Constas at Gaul against Prabhath Jayasuriya assist Australia's Ashes efforts?
Yeah, that's right. It's because as we know, this is a development tour, and players need developing. So, but do Australia want to win? A bit. Australia want to win a bit. So, does it help if Constas opens for longevity, or does it help for Australia to win? They care about a bit if Head opens. My feeling is that Head should open, and Constas can be in and around the group and be on the tour. I don't really see how it works.
Well, I do. You just put him in and just
forgot about that.
Say you're in. He just write his name on the sheet, then he wears the clothes.
Nah,
you know who I want to develop, who I want to see? I want to see Inglis. I want to see Josh Inglis play.
Yeah, I've got more interest in seeing more Slug and Inglis than I do Constas.
Word is Slug's bowling. He's off. He's in the nets.
Good.
That's the word.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're not going to. I mean, I think the Australian casual fan, right? I don't mean to delineate in a snobbish way.
From the ultras to the casuals.
I think does Bailey, who is a disgrace, by the way, needs to be said. Bailey and his continual disgraceful selections for the team in the WTG.
A disgrace. He's a disgrace. He's a disgrace himself and the nation. What he wears,
and where he sits and stuff.
Yeah.
Must he and his team, his cronies, give heed to the fact that the nation wants to see Constas now that it's on free to air? Is there a marketing component to it? Because here's what
Seven get the rights. Constas got to play.
Here's what Bailey's weighing up.
Right. Okay.
Now that it's on free to air,
yeah.
we have a situation that we haven't seen for about 20 years, where it's like, if it didn't happen in Australia, did it happen?
That's a good
point. If it didn't happen on free to air, did it happen?
FTA.
Right, FTA. Sorry, I have an echo machine. So we're on free to air now.
Right.
The nation is salivating over Constas, this young tyro who has got the casuals engaged. We're on free to air, and what's he going to say? Oh, you're going to have to be subjected to Travis Head atop the order.
The thing is that Travis Head is so blockbuster. Like he's
not Constas though. I mean, We haven't seen this since Warren. We haven't seen this kind of clamour over new players.
Yeah.
David clamour.
What do you want to do?
Oh, me. I would select the team that I think is going to win the game. I appreciate it's boring. Best. I think that I think if it's going to be if there's going to be an investment into experimenting on the tour in order to better have a chance to win in India, then I actually think that you should be playing Travis Head and Usman Khawaja open the batting and have Josh Inglis in the middle. I think Josh Inglis is someone who could be very, very helpful to the team for winning in India. I also think that there is a lot of time with Sam Constas. I just think there's bulk time.
Yeah.
He's extremely young. Yep. He's going to do many, many, many tours. However, if they pick him, I will be buoyed and excited by it on a novel level. And I, like everybody else, I'm really keen to see if the eyes start spinning again and what that means.
I said this a couple of weeks ago, but I think the team is Head Khawaja, Marnus Smith, Inglis 5, Webster 6, Carey 7. And then you're going to play...
They're going to go 2 and 2.
It's going to be Kuhneman, Murphy, Lyon.
I think they're going to play 2 quicks and 2 spinners. But the other setup is 3 spinners, 1 quick. So
with Webster bowling some seam up as well, possibly.
Yeah. So it depends on how much of a Viper's den it is.
Cummins has to play, so you'd be Cummins and Stark.
He's not playing. Cummins
isn't there. What am I talking about?
It'll be Boland and Stark if it's quicks.
Yeah.
And if it's 3 spinners, it'll be Stark and then Murphy, Kuhneman, Lyon. But the other setup is like, do you bring Constas in? Do you leave Inglis out, move everyone up, have Connolly in there as well? I'm
excited to see Tom Murphy bowl again, if I'm honest, because I see him as someone that is the long-term replacement to Lyon. I don't think Lyon's particularly close to the end of his career either. But he was exceptional when he came into the Ashes. He was great in India. He's bowled really well since he's played for Australia, and he doesn't get that many chances because Lyon's such a fixture in the side. So I'm really excited to see Todd Murphy, if possible. But I also understand that left arm spin is just absolutely crucial in Asian conditions, which is just one country. So that's how I feel about it.
Well, very important.
AskTGC. And it is brought to you by Smith Optics Australia. SmithOpticsAustralia.com. Use the code FAST for 25% off your order plus a free TGC cloth gift. Now, if you are on YouTube, here are the cloth gifts that they've been attaching to these deliveries. Yeah, I did put a message out there to David last week, and thank you, David, for delivering. Now, look at this little sort of retro pouch here, Pez, a sort of 80s vibe pouch that comes in for the Smith Optics. And here are the ultralights in the pink as requested.
Oh, now we're talking.
Requested.
Woo!
Ask Smith and they shall deliver. I'll tell you what, these are fucking electric. I'm wearing these out.
I think that there are events that would make that
I'm wearing
appropriate.
These out. Don't worry about that. Should have worn these for a Christmas party last week.
Upcoming events. Christmas party, TGC Christmas party last week.
So there you go. Thank you very much to Smith. Thanks to David. That's what you get when you team up with Smith Optics. Look at this packaging, Pezza. It's beautiful. It's great quality kit. It's great gear. And also, now we said the blokes on FTA. I mean, half the blokes are in Smith these days.
Yeah,
saw Travis Head doing head the other day. He wasn't wearing the ultralights, I don't think. He was wearing something else.
Okay.
But it's SmithOpticsAustralia.com.
The point is there's options.
Use the code FAST for 25% of your order plus a free TGC cloth gift, as mentioned.
And that call out to the women's team, by the way, who are just about to play their test at the MCG to rid themselves of their sort of street vendor, petrol Bowser based sunglasses and just allow Smith Optics to monopolise. That call remains.
Maybe we should just go down and just hand them out. It's an option. Just saying, it's an option. All right. Robert wrote in, Hobart have 5 players with 2 first names. Steve, can you ask Rick Finlay if this is a record for a T20 winning side? Something to think about. 6 points wrote in, charity boxing match versus Roy and HG, when is?
Those comparisons are not welcome. On behalf of them. Just to be clear.
There will only ever be one set of kings.
That is
and they are them.
Don't do that.
They are them.
Just don't do it.
Shamar Joseph's big toe. Can you please explain the first week of Trump's presidency in grade terms, please?
Be selfish out there.
Yeah. Wait,
One brings two executive orders.
Wait for the surge.
Well, defend the surge of immigrants, as that's his policy.
Well,
sadly,
good platform. Harry Dixon Ball. Well done. Yeah, is David Warner calling Mitch Owen Buddy a subtle way of asking how many fucking T20Is have you played?
Yep, absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
Leg brace stuff. Mitchell Owen climate crisis views what are? Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. Once we get to know him a bit further.
Well, in the same way that you have to play a lot of golf and sink piss to make the England side.
Bulk piss.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, in the Australian side, I wonder if Cummins does note the climate credentials and ideology of players in the team.
Exactly.
There'd be a few I'd be concerned about.
Yeah, dog, now we're talking. Hurricanes away truly is a new Galatasaray away. Forza Curva Derwin. Tough place to go.
Well, yeah, 6 in a row in the league proper and then another 2, 8 in a row. I mean, that's fortress stuff, really.
Except Hobart it's a great place to go.
It's too friendly.
It's a great weekend away.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
Absolutely.
Dangerous day to be a beer. Which grade would Mitch Owen, not to be confused with former England striker Micahel Owen, play in Sydney Test cricket? I think he is the greatest compliment I could play. I think he'd play first grade. That's how good I think he is.
Huge.
Sydney Test cricket, probably once.
I think he'd have to earn his way in. You'd start him in twos at a good club.
The thing is, though, because he's big,
he
looked good early
Okay,
doors.
all right. Well, apparently he did make a 80 off 40 opening the batting in an intra-club game in Hobart ahead of the BBL.
Okay.
So perhaps if you give him a possibles probables game, probably in the possibles team, and if he scores runs, then he probably gets a game at one of the better clubs.
Guide dog. Is smog an issue in English beaches? Does the English smog explain why it's only Aussies who used to swim in the English Channel covered in lard or some shit back in the day? Ain't no smog in Bondi whilst we barbecue and fight sharks. Yeah. Sort of the tone of the show, wasn't it?
Yes, it's a problem with John Lewis's comments. It encourages the wrong people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did used to swim in the English Channel, though. We were good at it. I mean, I don't think we were the only people to ever do that. But
yeah, I feel like that was Australians swimming the English Channel. I feel like might have been sort of inculcated into the syllabus, whereas other matters of our history weren't. And we just walked around just going like, I want to be the Chesty Bonds guy that swims. Nothing else happened in Australia ever.
And thank you to, what was his name? Curran, I want to say. Curran, who started the country. Curran in England started Australia. So, yeah. You're welcome. It's a hell of a weekend. All right. Thank you to Darcie. Thank you to Georgia. Thank you to Izzy for joining the show. Thank you for staying with us here on TGC. Follow the dailies for the Sri Lanka and Australia 2-test series. And,
2 tests.
And we'll be back right into your ears and your eyes and your hearts real soon. See you guys tomorrow. Cheers.